Weird. Sorry, guys. Thank you. Okay, let's try that again. I pushed the button. I swear on my life, I pushed the unmute button and it did it to me again. I pushed it, but apparently didn't push it just right. So hopefully now you guys can hear me. Everything there looks good. I was looking at it and didn't even recognize there was no sound bar, no little indicator over there. So thank you, Borg Swarm, and Bart, thank you so much for letting me know that there was no sound. Hopefully you can hear me now. Loud and clear, says Peter. Appreciate you. Josh, is the lack of audio my problem? It is not. Space Dorg says, what's up? How's it going? We've got David Berg in here. That's weird. That's real close to my name. So that kind of threw me off for a second. Let's see what else we got. Practical IT with Jeremy says, hey, everybody, glad to catch another stream. Reginald Chen was here earlier. Don't know if he's still here. Matthew Yax says, this is a great way to start Saturday morning. So thank you to everybody who has joined already. Do definitely appreciate you being here. Just I've got some plans to talk about a Docker service, as you saw in the title and the thumbnail and that sort of thing, where we're going to talk about Checkmate. That's kind of an uptime monitoring solution, both for applications and servers and things like that. I've actually got some notes to get started here. I want to make sure that I cover that because some of this I feel is important for a couple of different reasons. But we'll get to that here in just a minute. I just want to make sure that everybody is doing well. Everybody can hear what's going on. Everybody can see my dumb face. So as long as everything there, does it work on Podman or only Docker? It should work on Podman. You would just have to change the deployment method. You have to convert that over from Docker to Podman. Most things from my experience, which honestly is very, very little. I've only used Podman a little bit. But most things, if you tweak the files enough, you can get most Docker containers to work with Podman as long as they don't require root access. Because I think that's the biggest difference, but I could be mistaken on that. Let's see. Merit says hello, guy. Says hello, everyone. Appreciate you being here. Gorkum Chetan is here. He is actually the CEO of the company managing the project, or who has built the project that we're going to talk about today. So glad to have him here as well. He'll be here to participate in the conversation, answer any questions as we go along, at least for a little while. I think he's out doing a holiday kind of thing. And I don't want to keep him wrapped up for too long. I know he's out there having fun right now. So yeah, thank you for joining us, Gorkum. I hope I've got that right. I'm not super familiar with a lot of, I think, Turkish names, so I know my pronunciation is going to be garbage there. Let's see. James Collins is here in both YouTube and Twitch. Appreciate that. Mr. Grey Wolf is here. Thank you so much for joining. Gooser 3000 says, does Checkmate require root access? I don't think so. There was no. It shouldn't. So Checkmate's kind of a two-part thing, right? You're going to have your master dashboard for displaying the information, and then the stuff that you want to monitor will have an agent that you'll install. We'll come back to that. We'll get into that here a little bit later. Kudo says, I love your streams. They're very relaxing. Thanks. That wasn't my goal, but I'm glad they are. Is YouTube audio should be working. That's weird. Let's see. Josh G says, hey, I'm here on YouTube for the chat, but audio isn't working for me. It should be working. I'm using the same application for both platforms. So make sure you haven't accidentally muted your YouTube tab or the stream on your end. You probably did, but doing tech support for so many people over so many years, sometimes you just got to say the obvious stuff. So that's 100% me. Okay, cool. Glad to hear that. Glad you got that sorted, Josh. Gorkum, thank you for answering that. I appreciate that. Kudu says audio work, no problem. Audio is good. I don't know what's up with it, but it's not you. Fair enough. Appreciate that. So yeah, it's God, is it Saturday? It is Saturday, isn't it? Honestly, I wasn't sure how today was going to go. The weather here in Colorado, and I know not just in Colorado, but my experience is in Colorado. We got a bunch of snow overnight. And even the city and the county were like, look, we could run salt trucks on the road, but it would be pointless. So there's like, just expect slick roads for the next few days. So I wasn't sure how that would play into like power and internet and things like that. So hopefully everything keeps working accordingly. Let's see, audio is good. Okay, I bind it to a different port and use my reverse proxy. That's the good way to do it. Again, the other thing on that is you will, in order for this to work, you will need to install an agent somewhere else for the thing you want to monitor. So that shouldn't be an issue, but just note that that's part of it as well. So I guess with that, supposed to be like -12 here Monday morning. Yeah. That sucks, Mr. Grey Wolf. That is too cold, and I don't care if that's Fahrenheit or Celsius. That is too cold. So yeah, I don't envy that at all. So now that we know everything is good, everything is working, we're able to chat. You're able to hear me. You're able to see me. Just a few things. One of we've already covered, and that we'll kind of go in reverse order from what I've got here on my list. As I mentioned, we're going to talk about Checkmate in this video, and we've also got the CEO of Blue Time Upwave, Dr. Gorkum Chetan. Again, I apologize for butchering that because I know I did. He'll be in the chat to answer questions you might have. Also, Alex, who I believe is the lead developer on Checkmate, or the team lead, or I'm not sure what the official title is there, but he may also be in chat, but I can't 100% confirm that. I did chat with him quite a bit yesterday via email. Super helpful, troubleshooting a couple of things, and I'm glad I did, because I was kind of running myself in loops, and we were able to narrow down what the issue was, and I know that they're already working on it. So yeah, we will have team members from the application in chat. So definitely be sure to, if you've got questions, ask them, and they should be able to help with anything that I can't directly help with. That said, and this is kind of a two-part statement, because there seems to be confusion about the purpose of my YouTube channel. Whether it's a dedicated, like a VOD, a video on demand, or a live stream, or whatever the case is, there seems to be this misnotion that when I talk about a container or a service or whatever the case is, people seem to think that means that I'm saying you should use this service. They seem to think that when I talk about a service that 100% I'm saying you have to use this. This is the best thing ever. This is what I'm using, so this is what you should use. And that is 100% not the case, and I apologize if I have misrepresented that in any way. I believe in the past I've talked about this a little bit, but I feel like maybe it got lost in the mix. So the job I've given myself with these videos and these live streams is to be an information source, to say, hey, look, here's what's out there. This is an option you may not have known about that may work better for whatever your needs happen to be. But it doesn't mean I'm telling you to use it. It just means I'm trying to show you what options are out there. I'm trying to show you what cool new projects I've run across that may be an alternative to what you're using, or may have functionality that you weren't aware that was available, or whatever the case is. I'm not trying to force anyone to use anything. Sometimes I know I get excited, like in our last live stream, where we talked about Pangolin when everything just worked. And I was speechless, right? And I was very excited about that. But my goal isn't to try to tell you what to do with your server. My goal is to inform you about what options are out there and what's available to you, so that you can kind of pick and choose what works for you based on your needs and the functionality available on an application by application basis. Now that said, we are talking about an application here, and I'm not telling you to use it, but I'm also not telling you to not use it. If it fits your needs, then use it. If it doesn't work for you, it doesn't make any sense for you, if you're already using something that makes sense for you, that works very well for you, then just keep doing that. But feel free to check this out to see if maybe it's a better option for you. So I wanted to clarify that, because there seems to be a lot of misunderstanding about the goal of what I'm trying to do here on the channel. My goal is to be informative. My goal is to show you what's out there. My goal has never been, you have to do it this way or else. That's not how I roll. I feel like everybody should be able to do whatever they want with their home lab without taking into consideration what I think. Your home lab is your home lab. You should run it the way you want to run it. So just wanted to clarify that. So do with that information what you will. Just wanted to bring that up. So let's go back to chat for just a moment. Colin says we're supposed to get about 4 inches of snow tomorrow. Yeah, we got a couple inches overnight, and it's supposed to just dump the rest of the weekend, I think, here in Colorado. Peter says +1 in Montreal, but not for long. I hope it's going up and not down, Peter. That was going down is rough at that point. Nighthawk is here. Says, hey, I'll just join. Appreciate you being here, man. It's not, and Gooser says it's not always obvious how easy something is to deploy. So that's always good info. Thank you. That's all I'm trying to get across is here's a piece of tech that I found that I thought was interesting. I want to share it with you. I want to share the either the good or the bad or the whatever for the installation process. And that's really my only goal. It's not to tell you how to do your stuff. If anyone ever thought that your opinion was be all end all, I take that as a compliment. However, it's their own fault for thinking so. I 100% with both of those statements. But very often the comments that I get are genuinely like on Pangolin, like this was such a waste of time. These other things already do that. Well, yeah, I know. But I'm trying to show other options. So it was just one of those things that popped up a few times on the Pangolin video specifically, but on other videos in the past, that kind of stuff comes up regularly of like, well, I'm already using this. Why would I switch to that? Well, I never told you to do that. I never told you to switch. I never told you to change what you're doing. If you've got a solution that works, man, rock on, do your thing. I'm just giving other people an option to see something else as well. Let's see. I'm not even going to try. I will butcher that name so badly. Again, I'm not familiar a lot with, I'm guessing, Turkish names. Asking about Proxmox LXC support. That's how I've got this installed. And it seems to work 90%. The like 10% that doesn't work is actively being worked on based on my conversation with the developer I talked to yesterday, but we'll get to that later. Let's see. Josh G says we're looking at maybe 6 inches here in the Mid-Atlantic, and we're not good at handling that. Yeah, I actually in like 2001, I was in Georgia. From like August of 2001 to like February of 2002, and there were a few times where there was like a fraction of an inch of snow that got dumped, and it just shut down Augusta, Georgia. Just shut it down. The roads weren't really slick that I remember, but there was snow on the ground and people panicked. So I've absolutely seen that happen. And with a dusting versus 6 inches, I hope your kitchen is stocked and your internet works and you can just hang out and watch some TV or participate in your favorite hobbies, because driving in 6 inches of snow sucks. Nighthawk says lots of people just started home labbing or looking for stuff to run and learn. After a while, most learn what they want to run. Others just want to learn and don't know where to start. 100%. Kudu says, I'm from Sweden. It gets to -35°C. That's bonkers. I think I've only only been in air that cold a couple of times. And luckily for me, I was on an airplane. I was flying from here, from the U.S. To London, kind of en route to Scotland. And I remember looking at the little screen in front of me that said, and it was the first time I'd been aware of this, that like negative, I think it's 42 Celsius and negative 42 Fahrenheit are the same. They're the same temperature, and it's like only one of a couple of spots, or a few spots where those numbers actually line up. So I'm lucky. I've never actually experienced cold like that. I don't think I would be able to deal with that for very long. How does this work with network switches? I don't understand your question entirely. Toronto will be negative 30 in a few days. That's insane. I couldn't. Nope, I'm out. I'm out. Collins says they are called alternatives for a reason. Yep, 100%. Web 4 Plus. That's in. You appear to be new here. Thank you for joining us. I appreciate you being here. I get it so well. Okay. Thank you, Gorkum, for answering that, because that's kind of how I took it. But can I monitor the outside temperature? Not that kind of monitor. I like the look of Pangolin. Before I was planning on putting Tailscale and Traffic on a VPS to act as my external access, but Pangolin looked to make it easier. Yeah, it's already pre-built. It's already ready to go. I mean, I'm not saying you couldn't, because Pangolin is built on Traffic as its reverse proxy, but of course it uses some other stuff in there as well. Peter says, I genuinely enjoy your content. I will try out what interests me and discard the rest. Never hold you responsible. I appreciate that. That's all I'm going for. That's like my only ask in all of this is just, if the topic interests you, check it out. If it doesn't and you want to support me, check it out and mute it. But I'm never going to try to tell you to switch from what you're doing to something else, unless, I guess there's an exception to that. I may tell you I may tell you to consider stop using a product or service if it's coming to end of life, if it's been discontinued and it's not being updated anymore. I might make an urge for you to consider something else in that case. But if there's just a new thing out that's an alternative to something else, I'm never going to tell you to switch just for the sake of switching. That doesn't make any sense. If you have any suggestions for the roadmap, I'm open to that conversation as well. Love hearing that. Developing neuromorphic artificial brain in the era of LLM. Do your thing, ignore the hate. That's the plan. Yep, I agree with that. YouTube Mobile hates me. Staying on Twitch till I get home. Are you out doing stuff? Like, don't let me interrupt what you're doing, man. Like, do what you got to do and then come join us when you're ready. Hello from Twitch. My new Fedora KDE installed from 3 days ago. Alexia, that's amazing. Lots of people switching to different flavors of Linux lately. Jim's Garage is doing, I think, a January challenge where he's switching from Windows to Linux for like a month or something. I'm excited to see how that goes for him. Matthew Yax says, wondering, what was your very first project? Can you remember in-home labbing or service setup? I do. It was Plex. We've kind of covered this in the past, but basically, because of everything that had happened to me, medically speaking, we weren't bringing in a lot of money. This is like 2016, 2017. Things were real rough. And then like 2019, we were at a point where we just couldn't afford streaming anymore. It was bad. We're better now. I just want to clarify, but we're okay. But back then it was a real rough patch for us financially, and I needed a way to make sure that our very neurodivergent child could have all of his favorite movies and TV shows available to him. So we had to cancel all of our streaming stuff, and I set up a Plex server. And it was a very cool experience, and I really enjoyed the process. And so I made a video about that, and it got trashed because of the way I had done it. And somebody was like, hey, you should do it this way instead. It will make more sense for people. So I did it that way, using Docker instead of instead of an Open Media Vault plugin. And that was my introduction to Docker, was Plex. And that seems to be the go-to for most people. But I've been self-hosting since then, and I've basically kind of made a career of sorts out of it. And I've started building a community, and it's been a really, really good experience overall. So I've been really, really happy with that. Let's see. Peter says, are you on Twitch? I am. There is that if you want to check it out. In fact, it would be amazing. If anybody who can check this out on Twitch, that would be amazing. Because just for full transparency here, right? Like, I'm trying to build up my Twitch channel just so I can kind of spread things out a little bit, so I'm not just locked into one platform like I have been for so long. And I am so very, very close to being a Twitch affiliate, which is kind of the first step into monetizing, which I know maybe sounds selfish or whatever, but again, I'm trying to diversify my income streams here, just because, hey, we're getting we're getting the kitty up on the screen. I love seeing that. That's awesome. That was something I just added recently. But yeah, if you want to go check it out on Twitch, that would be amazing. So yeah. There's put the link in the Discord there. Here in Sweden, we skate to work. I hope that's true. Like, there's something so serene that I really hope that's true. Glass Cuts says, is Checkmate similar to Uptime Kuma? Yep. Gorkum, man, Gorkum's on top of it, man. Thank you so much for jumping in on this. Does that indeed. Good morning, says DE. Thank you for joining. Alexi says, I just switched from Kubuntu a year ago. I switched from Windows 10 to Kubuntu. I think I tried Kubuntu a long time ago. And I think at the time it was overly simple, if that's a thing. So I haven't checked it in a while. Man, now Twitch is saying I'm unstable. Well, I mean, I am unstable, but for different reasons here. I'm gonna have to check some stuff in my streaming setup. I gotta remember to do that before I start next time. I think a lot of people are getting tired of Windows adverts showing up in Windows more and more. I know I am. I believe that. I do. So I've been on Windows 11, honestly, kind of off and on since the beta. But here several months ago, I guess it's just been a few months. I finally bit the bullet, switched to 11. I don't hate it. It's fine. I know that they're doing a lot of data collection and things like that. But I was going somewhere with that. Oh, so I switched to 11. I don't hate it. Look, I don't feel like the interface is all that different from 10. One thing I do hate is that they're forcing you away from some of the older apps for like control panel and things like that. But at least for now, you can still access the old control panel, which gives you more granular control over things. And to my understanding, it's going to be that way for a while until they fully rebuild the core of Windows, because that's built into the core. So like I said, I don't hate it. It's just I don't appreciate some of the things that they're doing with, like, basically making the user the beta tester. I hate that. I think that's garbage. I hate the ads that are kind of all over the place. And I hate that on behalf of other people. I don't get them. I don't get them. I've never, like, I see pre-installed stuff, like when I do an install or whatever, but I don't know if it's my AdGuard home that's keeping those ads from popping up or whatever. But I don't see the ads that a lot of people talk about. Let me just take a look here. Yeah, like when I pop open my start menu, I don't see any ads. Like, I see Edge and Microsoft Copilot and Outlook and the apps, some recommended files. But yeah, I don't. It's probably the DNS ad blocker I've got. So you know. Let's see. It's that. Followed from YouTube. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Spaced Org is over there on Twitch now. That's awesome. Just followed on Twitch. Less ads, I hope. Yeah, again, I've tried. So when I set up the stream, like you won't see any ads on my Twitch because I'm not an affiliate yet, so I can't put ads on my stream over there. And I've told YouTube to be like fairly conservative about ad placement, just because like I still need to make a living doing this. And so ads are definitely a part of the live stream. Every once in a while, somebody will send a donation or will gift some memberships, that sort of thing. Super appreciated, but I also need to still supplement that with the ads, unfortunately. So it is what it is. I apologize, but thank you for your support. I genuinely do. I genuinely do appreciate that. If I could get my words out. Does Checkmate have unique features that you see that others don't? Yes and no. We'll cover some of that here in a bit. Have I seen Komodo? Yeah, I have. And we talked about this a little bit last week, and you may have missed it. Perfectly acceptable. No worries on that. So I have seen Komodo, and I deployed it, and I looked at it, and I was like, holy crap, that's a lot. I don't have the brain space for it right now. I will look at it later. It's on my list of things to actually dig into. I just haven't gotten there yet. A little tip for Nightbot, you could have a command YT and Twitch to share your channels. Oh, that's a really good idea. Thank you for that, Alexia. Appreciate that. What servers do you run in your rack? Spaced Org asks. Let's see. So on the top rack, right up there, I've got a TerraMaster F4 424 Max. And just next to that, I've got a Synology DS 1621 XS Plus. And I've kind of got them synchronizing like all of my media stuff from the DS, from that Synology, like once a week synchronizes over to the TerraMaster. And the reason I've done that is because the TerraMaster is not only a backup for my media, it's also a backup for my Plex server. Not so much with the metadata and what's been watched and what hasn't, but if something happens to the HL15 that's down here that acts as my Plex server and some other stuff as well, but if anything ever happens to that, like I mentioned earlier, the kid needs his movies. It's part of his fixation with his autism. So if something happens to that HL15, I need to have Plex up and running as quickly as possible. So the F4 424 that's up there acts as an immediate recovery backup. So if the HL15 goes down, I can turn it on and have Plex instantly, or within 90 seconds. Instantly in the grand scheme of things. Oops, what was that? Oh, thank you, Alexia, for sharing that in Discord. Appreciate it. The next two spots below that are networking. I've got a 10 gig, an 8-port 10 gig switch, and then that's from Yuan Lei, and then I've got a patch panel, and then I've got a 24-port Omada switch. Below that, sorry, I'm looking over here at my screen. I just got to look at there. Oh, I lied. I've got the F4 424 up there, and the DS923 Plus up on the top rack. I apologize, I misspoke there. What I did, the F4 or the TerraMaster is still the Plex backup server. The other Synology that's up there is also a backup server of sorts, but it also runs a surveillance station for the cameras I've got in my backyard. And that's really all it does. I'm actually going to do another video on it here in about a week and a half. I've got something planned with Synology. Then the server rack stuff, then the DS 1621 XS Plus that runs some Docker containers and stores most of my media for me. Below that, again, the HL15 that I've had for a while now. Love it. It's great. And And then on the very bottom, I don't even know if you can see it down here. I've got another TerraMaster device that's just sitting there. It's not powered on, it's not plugged in, it doesn't have anything in it. It's just sitting there because it wouldn't fit on my rack up here. I've also got a Zima Cube Pro down there that I'm going to throw some drives in here shortly and see what I can do with it. So that's what's in my server cabinet. So yeah. I've been using Dockage for a while for its simplicity and Docker Compose oriented, but Komodo does look interesting. I agree with that. Twitch looks good here. No noticeable drops or anything. I had one buffer, but otherwise looks good. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. It says unstable, and it's showing me that I've got a bad bit rate. I'm not sure how 5,000 kilobytes per second is a bad bit rate, but apparently it is, and I should make some changes to that. And YouTube is saying that I need to switch my keyframes are not being sent often enough. So there's some things I need to deal with on that. So I apologize for that here. I really do. I don't want to interrupt the stream to try to fix it. I don't know if I can even over here. Let me see. Stream. Add a destination. Yeah, I can't change settings while I'm live. So unfortunately, there's not much I can do about it right now. So again, I apologize. I will try to get that fixed by the next stream, which should be Monday, actually. So tomorrow, I'm going to come out here. You may see me pop up periodically. I apologize for any confusion there may be tomorrow. I'm using Uptime Kuma, but not sure if it's still being maintained or keeping up to date. So, Reginald, that's a great point. The developer of Uptime Kuma and that team is working on a new version of Uptime Kuma that's in its last stages of beta, is my understanding. My first step into home labbing was installing Proxmox in an R720 and setting up TrueNAS to have a place for Plex and store stuff, then setting up a way to get ISOs. Yep. Man, of course, you've got a huge technical background, so I guess that wasn't probably too much of an issue, all things considered. But that's a big first step there. Moved from Windows 11 to Debian, then Fedora for the developer experience because Windows would make some stuff convoluted to the point of annoyance. I agree with that. To be honest, I hate Windows for my own gaming desktop. That's why I switched to Linux. Another reason is just to learn Linux quicker. 100% I agree with that. At least up to James Collins separates 1 month of membership. Yay! How are you celebrating a month of membership if you just accidentally gifted yourself a subscription or membership? I'm so confused. Damn, dude, for real? Collins, did you just gift another 10 memberships? Wow, dude, thank you so much. That's insane. Thank you, dude. I appreciate that. Was gifted membership. Thank you for the gift. Yeah, dude, that's amazing. Dude, Collins and Nighthawk, man, they really helped me out so much. I can't thank them enough for their help. Not just on the live streams, but like in Discord. They helped me out so much. Let's see. Sinister Spatula says, I just built an Unraid NAS. Loving Unraid so far. It's so easy. I've heard that. I still need to look into Unraid. I really do. I haven't yet. I've got the hardware for it. I just haven't done it, and I should. Will Cranmer, I apologize. Will Cranmer says, hi all, thanks for this. Been looking for monitoring solutions for a while now. Observium, Zappix, CheckMX. Specifically want to track SNMP3, syslogs, NetFlow for remote routers. I want the sysracks enclosure per your recommendation. Yeah, dude, I love this rack. It was a bit of a beast to put together. There were a couple of QA issues, and it may not have even been QA. It may have just been shipping issues. I don't know, but I had a couple of things that just didn't line up right. But I made it work. What's your go-to server OS? I personally would love and hate Unraid, but use it for its JBOD array, which totally makes sense. So I My HL15 down here is Proxmox. I just got it updated to the most, just to the most recent version. To the 8.3 I think is the most current. Anyway, I'm doing that. That's my go-to. But inside of that, all of my LXCs run Debian 12 at the moment, and my VMs run Ubuntu. I want to say 2204. Not twitching is being worse for me. Does it support Twitch being obnoxious, buffering every once in a while? Yeah, and it's something about my bitrate. I don't know if my bitrate is too high, or maybe it's too high. I don't know. That's and look, and here's the other problem. I don't know how to change it in Streamlabs desktop. I don't know how to change the bitrate. Let's see, output, recording, replay buffer, streaming. And because I'm live, I can't change it. Okay, I figured out how to change it. I just can't change it while I'm live. I guess I don't know what the default bitrate for Twitch should be. So I'm gonna have to dig through this. I apologize that we're having some issues there. Maybe I need to dial it back a bit. Does it support WinRM and Windows updates monitoring? I don't think so. I run Observium for SNMP2 from Graylog for syslog. Looks great here in London. Cool, that's great. Yeah, Twitch stream is only at 1080p on Twitch. Yeah, I don't know, like the amount of data I'm sending at them, it's like 5 megs a second. So I don't know if that's too much or too little. I'm guessing for 720p or even 1080p, 5 megs might be too much. Maybe I should dial it back to like 3 megs. I don't know. I'll have to dig into some of that. Yeah, my let's see, my multi-stream no output. Like I record everything in 1080p, so that should be what my settings are for. But again, unfortunately, I can't make any changes. I can't make any changes while I'm live. So unfortunately, there's nothing I can do about it, and that sucks. So yeah, I'll probably have to dial it back a little bit. Checkmate can monitor Checkmate can monitor remote Linux servers with an agent called Capture, which we'll talk about in a bit. There's support for CPU, RAM, disk, and temp monitoring, but we'll add Windows support to Capture soon. That's cool. Whenever I update my Docker images, something breaks. How do you handle updates? So it's kind of a bit of a process, but it's not at the same time. Hold on, we're gonna choose. There it is. That's actually the one I wanted. That surprises me. I'm gonna get logged in here. So let's just do this, and hopefully nothing broke. Yay. Okay, so this is Proxmox, or sorry, this isn't Proxmox. This is Portainer, and I've got agents set up on all of the different LXCs that I've got in my server setup, and you can see all of those there. So when there's an update, I get a notification through Gotify. I've got that set up in here via Watchtower. So in each of these, one of the containers in each of these is Watchtower. Watchtower checks once per day to see if there's an update. When there is an update, Watchtower notifies Gotify, and I get a notification on my phone, and it works really well. So when I get that notification, I go over to my Gotify instance, the dashboard here on my computer on my screen here, and I use that as a checklist, and I kind of just start honestly wherever it makes the most sense for whatever needs to be done, and then I come back over here and let's say I've got a notification for HedgeDoc. That's the one that I'm using for my notes. I would jump into here and I go to containers, and nothing in here needs an update, but I can tell it needs an update because it'll just, like the image that's right here, the image that's right here, instead of being image, Cloudflare, or Portainer, whatever, right? Instead of that, it'll just be a random string of characters. So what I can do at that point is click on it and click on recreate, repull image, and recreate. It'll pull the image, it'll redeploy the image with all of the same settings as before. The thing that you may be experiencing though is if a container doesn't have persistent storage, that can cause issues and can cause things to reset. And that sucks, especially when you had a container up for a while. You do an update and lose everything. So you need to have persistent storage for that to work and not lose all of your stuff when you do the update. So that's how I do it. The rack is, hold on, rack sys, rack sys, because I did it backwards. I think it's this one that we want. Yeah, it should be that one. Copy link address. So this is, that's the server rack. It's the rack sys racks. I keep saying it backwards. It is the sys racks 27U 24-inch SRW 27.600. That's the one I've got, and it's been great. If you're streaming 1080p on Twitch, but it seems to be stable, I see various sites recommending 6K bitrate for stream. Yeah, and I'm so confused about why Twitch is having such a hissy fit about that key. Oh, so that's okay. Okay, I need to show you guys this because this is stupid. I'm gonna. Okay, and then this. Can I close that? Nope. I want to see. No. Is there? Oh, right. That's weird. Okay, sorry. All right, so let's switch back over to this. Right there. Okay, so this is saying over here on Twitch, this side of the screen, which we can see there are some definite discrepancies there as far as what's going on. But if we hover over this, this says keyframe interval too high. And this is basically saying my keyframes aren't being sent often enough. So I think that's the issue. Issue is super frustrating that the two of them can't use the same keyframe interval without having a hissy fit at each other. So that appears to be the issue. So my 5K should be fine. It's a keyframe interval issue, and I don't know how to fix that, but I'll have to dig into it. Sinister Spatula, which again, I love that name, says, I wish Proxmox would add Docker built in. LXCs are containers. If you need Docker, just set up a VM, or worst case, install it in PVE. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a way to do it. Would be nice. Okay. I may have, let's see, hold on. You're only seeing YouTube comments again. No, I've got my multi-stream up. There's just not a lot of chat going on. We've got Reg, we've got Alexia. That's really all I'm seeing over here. Mr. Grey Wolf. Yeah, I'm just not seeing a lot of stuff. Hold on, I gotta figure out where I was. Are you? Sheepdog says, are you combining Checkmate with ClientAV or Virus Total? No. Have you considered looking into ways that I looked into it, I think last year at some point, and then just never went back to it. Christian Lampa probably covered it very well. 1080p typically starts around 5 to 8 gigabits per second. We're talking kilobits, not gigabits. So there's, You gotta look at that from the Proxmox perspective, though. They're a virtualization platform like Hyper-V. You have VMware ESXi. Having Docker app store isn't a feature for their target audience. Yeah. So basically, like all of my applications are run in separate LXCs, but each LXC has Docker installed in it. So I'm nesting my virtualization basically. I know that's kind of a dumb way to put it, but that's basically what's going on. And when I talked about that in a video I made last year, I took some flack for it. But again, the cool thing about self-hosting is everybody can do it how they want to do it, whichever way makes sense for them. This works for me. I haven't had any issues. And I try to just make sure that everything works the way I need it to work. And it's good to go. Let's see, Mike says, I even watch some of the old stuff again, thank you, and often catch a stupid little thing I missed, even stuff that doesn't apply to me. There's sometimes still something to be learned. I agree, and I appreciate your take on that. I appreciate your understanding on that. And as a bit of transparency here, sometimes I go back and rewatch my old videos to remember how I did something when I set something up. Like my content isn't necessarily just for general consumption. Sometimes it's a reminder for how I did something whenever I did it. So I should use Portina agents on my uptime Kuma container too. Yep. Proxmox is a hypervisor, and they won't go that route with the product. You might look at adding a home lab dashboard like Heimdall or Get Homepage, single panes of glass. Yeah, we'll combine Checkmate with Linux server side security checks, kernel. Cool, that's great, and that's what I love about doing these videos, these live streams, is by asking the questions, by talking about things we either do or don't like, or do or don't want to see, we can actually have a real world impact on the development of an application. And I love that. And I love that Gorkum is being so open to suggestion. I swear we're gonna get to that here in a minute. You shouldn't use Watchtower. It requires you to run things as latest instead of version container images. Use Renovate or something similar to update tags for you. Preferential. I mean, you can use what you want to use. That's fine. Does that come with a supercharger? I think I'm going to end up switching to Unraid for my virtualization instead of Proxmox just to have easy Docker store. I get that. I've run Watchtower for years with over 100 Docker containers. I can't be bothered with manually managing container updates. Look, I don't do any auto updating, right? Like Watchtower, I've just got Watchtower set to notify me that there is an update. Like I still have to go in and manually run the updates for each and every one of my containers. And that's by design. So I can go in and look and see what the update is. Is it applicable to me? Do I need to do it? And of course, I also rely on Ethan Shawley and the Self-Host newsletter because he will post things in his newsletter that talk about breaking updates. So if there is an update that breaks something, he makes note of it in his newsletter, and that's super, super helpful. It comes down to your needs. Got to go with what fits best. I agree. I got the Syserax 18U and love it. So I'm ready to stretch it a bit for more space. Yeah. I think you let the keyframe be blank, which causes issues. That might be it. I will have to check the. I will definitely have to check the keyframe interval. I got to figure out how to do that in Streamlabs, though. I'll figure it out at some point. Twitch is lurker friendly. Yeah, I've been reviving my elderly neighbor's old laptop with Linux. They like the idea of not having to buy a new one. Plus, it makes my supporting them easier. Yep, I agree. I wrote gigabytes meant megabytes. No, nothing. No worries, man. It happens. Yeah, again, Sheepdog, I don't automate any of my updates other than notifications. I'm a professional Twitch lurker. Checkmate, let's play chess. Fun fact, Checkmate idea came from a community member. That's cool. As you have Docker and I support Portainer on multiple XCs, do you pay for Portainer to get access to more agents or from your controller Portainer? I run them. So each, I'm just using Community Edition on everything. And then I've got Portainer installed on all of my LXCs and VMs. And then I've got the Portainer agent installed on all of them, pointing back to one location, so I can manage everything from that one location without having to log into like 15 different VMs and LXCs. One thing about that, and I know Collins took issue with me doing that, because if you're accessing one of those Portainer systems via the agent, you can't modify the Docker. You can't modify the stacks on the agent accessed Portainer instances. If you need to modify the stack or the Docker Compose or whatever you want to call it, you do have to manually log back into each of those individual containers and do that. That's the only downside that I have personally run into with my setup. Nighthawk says, if you have an email account that isn't webmail, I think they actually switched that to 3 free licenses on Portainer for Business. Cheap managed home lab rack switch with SFP plus ports. Hold on. No, I'm not much of a hardware guy, if I'm completely honest. When it comes to home labbing and networking and that sort of thing, I'm not the guy to ask about that. I genuinely don't have a solid answer. Switching from Unraid's Docker managed to Portainer was a game changer for my multi-server setup. I love Portainer myself. I agree. I'm a big fan. I can manage stacks from the controller node, but the agent nodes would have to be a business thing. That makes sense. Okay, that makes sense. All right, well, I think he's correct. They've reduced it to 3. I feel like, okay. Okay, so we've been chatting for almost an hour now. Holy crap, we've been chatting a while, and we haven't even gotten to our main thing. But before we do that, there's one more thing. Crap. Holy crap. I've got hot tea in here because I thought it was going to be colder in here. It's like 66 degrees, which I think is perfect. Okay, so last thing I want to cover, then we're going to get into the purpose of our live stream today. And that's simply to say thank you. My last few live streams and the videos that I've made afterwards about the topics we've covered in those live streams have done really, really well. And that's because of you guys, and I really super appreciate you doing that. You've been watching my content more, you've been sharing it more, you've been commenting more, and that literally means the world to me. My views are up across the board, my subscriber count is up across the board. And that means a lot to me. So thank you guys so much for your support. I know not everybody can support financially, and I get that, and I have no hard feelings about that. So you watching my content really, really is a great way to support me and keep me going, keep me motivated, that sort of thing. So thank you. Thank you for watching my content, watching the live stream, and then watching, the tutorial based on that live stream. The Pangolin live stream did I think 4,000 views or something, 4,300 views. The tutorial video it did like another 16,000. It's my #1 out of my last 10 videos. Blew my Proxmox Data Center Manager video out of the water for views. Subscribers, more than 100 subscribers from the Pangolin video. Thank you. Seriously, this is amazing, and it really does mean a lot to me. So, just wanted to say thank you. Let's see. Did that in the video? Thanks for taking the time to do it. Migrating away from Portainer right now from Komodo a while back. Cool. All right. So let's talk about why we're here. That's what we're doing, right? That's what we're supposed to be doing here. So I'm going to drag some stuff around here real quick. I'm still going to have chat open there. And I'm going to drag, I need you to go there and go there. And let's drag this over there. Okay. So what we're talking about today, like we mentioned in the title and the thumbnail and earlier in the video and the live stream, is Checkmate. And Checkmate is an open source monitoring that's made simple. I agree with that. There's some stuff we'll cover when we get into it, but it gives you real-time insights into your infrastructure with analytics and alerts and all that kind of stuff. Here is a screenshot of basically what it looks like on the infrastructure page. And if I'm being 100% honest, it is the infrastructure section that I ran into issues with yesterday. Thankfully, I was able to chat with Alex via email, and we realized that there is something I don't want to say wrong, but there's something going on that's preventing it from working as it currently stands on my setup. But yeah, open source monitoring for everyone. So website monitoring, monitor your websites for uptime, performance, and availability across multiple locations. Page speed insights, infrastructure monitoring. Again, ran into issues with that. That's new. I know that they're actively working on a fix for the issue that I ran into yesterday. Docker monitoring, which is new. I actually haven't tried that yet. Ping monitoring, incident management. So quick overview of ongoing incidents with detailed status and impact analysis. Email notifications, maintenance windows, which I super appreciate. If you're, let's say you're going to do server maintenance Thursday at 5 o'clock, which I don't know why you would, but just randomly Thursday at 5 o'clock. You can say, hey, just chill out Thursday from like 5 to 6 while I do some stuff. I don't need to get notifications that stuff is down while I'm updating that stuff. So I dig that. And of course, self-hosted, and that's why we're talking about it, is because we love self-hosted stuff here on the channel. We'll get into some product roadmap stuff that they've got. If I can remember how to do that. There we go. So global uptime checking is in progress for distributed monitoring of Solana networks across multiple regions. We've got port monitoring in progress for monitoring specific ports and services for availability. Status pages in progress, customized public status pages for your services. So we've also got enhanced notifications with integrations for Discord, Telegram, and Slack for instant alerts. That is planned. They're not, to my knowledge. This hasn't been updated or to anything past planned, but it's coming, and I love that. That was actually one of the first things I asked when I reached out to these guys. Advanced configuration, expand options for monitoring rules and alert conditions. Love that. I think that's a great idea. DNS monitoring, track DNS health and propagation across global networks. I think that's cool. And then SSL certificate monitoring alerts, automated SSL certificate monitoring for expiration, tracking and alerts. That's great. And again, all of this is expected, or they're hoping to get it out Q1 of this year. So in the next couple of months, and I think that's great. So look, and here's the thing, right? They've been working on this project. They've been working on Checkmate for, I believe, if memory serves, like 6 or 7 months at this point. So there's still a lot of stuff that they're working on, obviously, if we look at the roadmap there. So there's stuff that other services already have, and they are working on kind of coming up to speed with some of the services, some of the features is a better word there, that you're familiar with in other services. There we go. So the reason I wanted to talk about this today is because I think it's a cool project, and I very often like to get in early on these to let people know that they are a thing. Very often, like we took a look at WebCheck a few months ago, and I'd never heard of it, despite it having like tens of thousands of stars on GitHub. I'd never heard of it. So when I see new projects like this, or any new project that kind of fits what we talk about here on the channel, I like to talk about it as soon as I possibly can, because I want the community to know that it's there. Next term was another situation very much like this, where there are other options out there that are more developed, but I like where this is going. So while this may not be 100% everybody's cup of tea, I like what they're doing. I like what they're planning on doing. And so far, talking to, again, the CEO and the lead dev, they've been amazing to chat with. very open to suggestion and answering questions and that sort of thing. And that gives me a lot of hope for the project. And I wanted to share that with you guys. And that's why we're doing this live stream, is to just kind of give you an introduction to Into Checkmate. Again, there's stuff that works. There's stuff that doesn't work quite as well as we'd want it to. But there's a lot of stuff coming with it. And I think that's very, very exciting. So, okay, so let's see here. So I'm just trying to get caught up on some of this. Would like to know how you set up that screen behind you with the like and sub screen. Yeah, that's a TV. That's an old Vizio TV, and I've got a Raspberry Pi plugged into it with a piece of software whose name escapes me. Okay, it wasn't that. It must have. Oh no! Why'd you do that? Maybe it's this. No, I cannot remember the name of the software that's running on it. But basically, it gives me a dashboard where I can upload video files or pictures or web pages or whatever. Right? I can point it to URLs, whatever, and I can configure what goes on there. Maybe I'll do a video on that if you guys are interested. That might be a fun thing to do. You and I worked on Portainer together for a little while, and you left about 3 months after I joined the team. Yeah. I honestly, I kind of regret doing that. If I'm 100% honest, working for Portainer, working with Portainer on the contractor status that I was doing was amazing. It gave me so much flexibility, and it gave me an extra bit of income that paid better than it should have, if I'm completely honest. But I was in the wrong headspace for that, and I couldn't manage myself well enough to not need a manager. I needed to be told what to do, even though my job was just go out into the community on Reddit or wherever and answer questions about Portainer. And that was too much freedom. If I'm completely honest, there was really no accountability. Nobody ever checked in on me. I was like, here's the work I did. Here's the hours I worked. Here's an invoice. And that was too much freedom for my brain at the time with the mental health state I was in. It paid so well. The team was amazing. Everybody I talked to was just so supportive. When I first submitted my email of like, hey, I can't do this, they're like, no, like you need to be here. This is so good. Like you shouldn't leave. And finally I was just like, I can't do this. And I honestly, to a certain degree, I very much regret that. Nighthawk says maintenance is reserved for 5:45 p.m. on Fridays. What about notifications? Okay, we answered that. This Proxmox release is great. You cannot manage what you cannot measure. That's true. There's an issue. Oh, developers are working on that. That's cool. So Checkmate is supposed to be just a monitoring solution. Doesn't have event ingress mechanism, so it's not SAM. That's what I'm here for. Currently playing with Waza. I don't know how to pronounce that. Waza, I don't know, man. Wazoo? Is it Wazoo? That would be funny. So anyway, let's take a look. All right, so there is a GitHub. Oops, let's jump over to here. They do have a GitHub page that you should definitely check out, where they're actively updating this. We can see that 7 months ago for the pull requests, MD. All of this should be linked in the video description on whichever platform you're watching this on. They've also got a Discord that is there on their checkmate.so URL that you can take a look at. So let's take a look at my instance. You're gonna have to look at my dumb face while I get logged into this. I think it's on 26. Let me see here. Let's see here. There we go. All right. Sorry. Just wanted to get logged in and that sort of thing so we can kind of take a look at this. So we've got the Blue Wave client, a Mongo database, a Redis database, and the server. Really the only thing you're ever going to interact with is the client. There's really no need to interact with anything else there. So let's just jump over to here, take a look. We'll get logged in if I'm not already. Take a look. Yeah. Really? I had things in here. I don't know what happened there. That's strange. Well, then look, it's already installed. We don't necessarily need to get into the install process with this, I don't think. Just because there are, like if we go over here and we take a look at their GitHub repository, sorry, I'm just making sure that this all looks right. Okay. If we come into the Docker section, there is dev, distribution, production, and testing. And that's a lot. So what I've done to get started. No, that's not what I wanted. I wanted the view documentation. That's what I was looking for. So Checkmate's open source. We talked about that. It uses Capture to get data from remote servers and doesn't need anything other than Checkmate server itself to monitor uptime and page speed. So they have a demo. Maybe we should look at their demo because it's already pre-installed and ready to go. If you have questions, you can go to GitHub's discussion channel or page. They've got a channel there. And then features, we kind of talked about a lot of that already. So if we go to installing, right, there's download our Docker Compose file. Oops, let's pop that open in a new tab because I'm going to want to come back to that. And we can take a look at this. So we've got some services here. I know this is a little thing, but I appreciate there not being a version up at the top just to maintain current standards with Docker Compose. So we've got the uptime client with the restart policy of always. We've got the environment variable of what is the API base URL, and that is based on the server port. So basically, all I've done with mine is I've changed localhost to the IP address of the container. That's all I'm doing right now for mine. So ports 8443 depends on server. So the client won't come up until the server's ready. And again, we've got the uptime server for the latest on that image. Restart policy always. Again, totally makes sense. On port 5000, like we see up here and right there. This depends on Redis and MongoDB. And we've got an environment variable to connect to the Mongo database and the Redis host. Pretty straightforward. And right here it says, volumes for the Docker socket. And it actually says over here, if you want to monitor Docker containers, just uncomment this line. So that's super straightforward. One thing I don't see here, and maybe this is why, like when I logged back into my instance, there's nothing here, though I feel like there should have been. It very well could be that I don't see any kind of persistent storage on the server, and maybe that's not how it's configured, but there were certain error messages I wasn't able to get yesterday until I added persistent storage on this, so I don't know. So Redis, again, for caching, and then the MongoDB to store your data. Pretty straightforward as far as a Docker server or a Docker solution is concerned. And then it's still crazy hot. I'm sad about how hot that still is. Let's come back down to here. Let's see. I've been very happy. I've been very overburdened by Zabbix. I'm hoping Checkmate will be a good replacement. I think it definitely has the potential to be. Will says, side note, Zabbix has NetFlow and real-time streaming data collection from network devices. That's cool. Waza, okay. What metrics are essential for you to monitor your home server? Sorry, I was reading ahead there with Michael. No worries, man. I get sidetracked very, very easily. So the things that are important to me to monitor, I think it's going to be, fairly standard stuff. CPU usage, I want to make sure that a container or a service isn't maxing out my CPU usage. RAM usage, same thing. Because very often I'll go through and I'll build, well, for a while, I would go through and build, an LXC and put a Docker container in it and monitor the CPU usage or the RAM usage on it. And that way, like I would start with like 2 cores and a gig of RAM. And then I could watch that for a while and be like, okay, well, it's only using 100 megs of RAM. So let's just drop that to like 256 megs of RAM instead of a gig, right? That way there's still some overhead, but I'm freeing some stuff up for other services that might need it. For most of the services I run, a single core is plenty, but sometimes you need more cores. So being able to monitor those 2 things, monitoring hard drive usage, super important as well. I think it's the standard stuff. Also, I like to look at network usage, because network usage can often give you a hint that something is wrong as well. I had a website that I was hosting for someone here a while back that I had built, but I screwed something up along the way. And in the course of a month, this website that got effectively no actual traffic had used more than a terabyte of traffic. Like nobody visits this website. I shouldn't say that. Very few people visit this website because it's for a very small business that's very niche and a very small place. It might have gotten 100 visits a month, right? But somehow it had managed to use more than a terabyte of data transfer. So that told me there was something wrong. So I went in and shut it down. I still haven't fixed it, but it let me know that there was something wrong. So it may not seem like it, but network traffic usage is also super important for me. And of course, uptime, downtime, ping. Ping can also let you know that there is something wrong, or misconfigured, or there's a bottleneck somewhere in the networking. Those would be the big ones for me, I think. You're not secure. What? I'm running this locally on an IP address. I don't know. I would love for a monitor software to be able to run a script that's triggered by a service being up or down. Like it detects the NPM is down. It could run a script that tries to bring it back up. That would be cool. That would be pretty neat. Mike Blenzo says, for context, I'm near 50 and been in IT off and on since 98. Holy crap. Version field is deprecated on Docker Compose, so we don't need it. I agree, but a lot of people are still using it for some reason. Mert is one of the core containers of Checkmate project. Oh, that's awesome. Hi, Mert. I know I screwed that up. It's probably pronounced very differently than that, but I only speak English, unfortunately. A little Spanish here and there, but not much more than that. But thank you for joining. I appreciate you being here. JD is here. Thank you for joining, man. Appreciate you being here. So let's jump back over to here. And let's just take a look at what this looks like to add an uptime monitor, right? Let's create your first monitor. We're just going to click on that, and you can do a URL, or you can do HTTP or HTTPS. You can do ping monitoring. You can do Docker container monitoring. You would need the container ID there. However, let me see something here. I need to check. I know there's something in here I don't want people to see, so I'm going to change that on the server side. Okay. Sorry, needed to make sure that I screwed up a password so you couldn't see what it was. I do have the Docker volume here, or the Docker socket connected here. So in theory, we could monitor something like Portainer, because that's really the only thing I've got running on this LXC here. So let's jump over to here. Let's the container ID. I think the container ID is Portainer. You can select the URL of the host together with the type of monitor. So I guess that's a question. What are we looking for a container ID with regards to monitoring a Docker container? That would be my question here. Play with the new toy. Body is here. Brain is waking up still. Only had one cup. Only started on my cup of coffee. Yeah, dude, I get it. Thank you for the content. Thank you for watching. I appreciate that. So while we find out about what, thank you. Man, I don't know what I would do without you guys. Seriously, No, it's prox demo. I genuinely, man, I don't know if I've maybe not had enough coffee today. Oops, darn it, I screwed that up. Let's do that. There we go. All right, so let's come over to here. Let's go to Blue Wave Uptime. Let's do console. Let's do Docker PS. Let's grab that ID. Thank you. I thank you. That was super helpful. Let's see. Let's put this in here and see what happens. Like that. I don't know. We're gonna call this Portainer or whatever that was. Portainer. Right. Notify via email. Check frequency once per minute. That's fine. Let's create a monitor. Says it's pending. Still pending. Interesting. Active for checking every 1 minute. We're still pending. So then let's try it this other way. Let's do Docker monitoring. Let's do Portainer and Portainer. Playing with a new Raspberry Pi 500 8 gig. That sounds cool. How is the default username and password set up when you deploy this, which we're not going to do in this live stream? When you deploy Checkmate, it will ask you to create a username and password. It's really just that straightforward. Okay, if you want to put in the printer, just put in Portainer. Cool. Let's do that. Notify. Great. Create that. Both still pending. Interesting. Well, let's. Okay, we're gonna do it a different way. 192.168.0.26 on 9443. Portainer. Let's try it that way as well. And then we'll create that monitor. Oops. Oh, it doesn't like that. Interesting. Can we do ping monitoring? IP address, let's try that. Create monitor. Entered URL is not available. Interesting. New to this, but also interested to learn. A Moonlit Dreamer asks, does the container have access to the Docker socket? It does. It's actually right here in the Docker Compose. You would just uncomment those two lines, remove those hashtags. Don't add the port. Okay, but if I want to monitor that service via the address, then I feel like I have to, because if I just put in, I guess that's port monitoring, and I think we actually talked about that. Docker monitoring, ping monitoring, port monitoring is still not there. Okay, see, I'm getting ahead of myself. This is why we do this. So yeah, port monitoring still isn't a thing. That's my bad. So let's just do 0.26, right? We're gonna call this LXC. We're gonna do HTTP monitoring, and we'll click create. Okay, so LXC is working. Portainer doesn't appear to be working, and my Docker socket is uncommented there. So not entirely sure what's going on there. But you don't have to do. Is Portainer running on HTTPS? Yes, but it's running on port 9443, not 443. JD asks, doesn't this need proper SSL? Maybe, I don't know. This is kind of why we do these live streams as well, is so that we can kind of go through these things as a team, as a community, as a bunch of people putting their heads together to ask these questions to help me make better content, and so we can all kind of learn together. Ping monitoring can't use a port. That's good to know. You can add the port on HTTPS monitoring. I tried that. I did. Let's see. Portainer. So here's something else that I've noticed. Configure. Okay, that's good. And configure. Yeah. Oh. That's interesting. I didn't put port. did I put Portainer right there? Did I see? Here's one of the issues that I've noticed is some of these things can't be edited after the fact. Like once you put something in, sometimes you can edit it, sometimes you can't. I don't really notice any rhyme or reason as to why certain things are editable and other things aren't. That could be maybe something that that the Checkmate team could answer. I don't know why that is. Cloudflare can give you SSL. Yep, I agree with that. It was complaining about not being a proper URL. All right, let's go back. Okay, we're going to create new 92.168.0.26 9443 container notify create, but it says that's not reachable, and I don't understand entirely why, unless this needs to be on the network needs to be on host mode. I wonder. Let's try it this way just to see if this changes anything. If I put it on that, so that worked. If I use the Docker network IP address, it's trying. Nope, not reachable. Interesting. I know that they're not on the same network, so it makes sense why they can't communicate that way. But I'm definitely curious about why it can't access the 192 address 0. And it's got to be because of the SSL issue. That's what it's got to be, as far as I can tell. And it could be that too. Uptime is what I use now for ping. Where did it go? I'm missing. It was complaining about the not being a proper URL. Yeah. And you can use Let's Encrypt for, yeah. Still very new app. Capture is V1 and released 3 weeks ago. That's absolutely true. And Capture was actually the part of this I was having issues with. And that's a second container that we would install somewhere else on a different service. I mean, we can try localhost. Oops. Let's just try localhost. Let's see what happens. I don't know. Create monitor, not reachable. So I don't know what's going on with that. So I tell you what, let's do this. There we go. Demo. We're gonna take a look at their demo instance, because again, it looks like there's still some stuff kind of being worked on in the background here. So this is what an uptime would look like if we had everything configured here. So it looks like we've got 3 up, 3 down, and 1 paused. GitHub is paused for some reason. Oops. Whoa, that's not what I meant to do. GitHub paused. Can we? Nope, we can't unpause. Okay, so this is a restricted account, which is probably good. But if we take a look here, we can see, Google 404, GitHub, Yahoo, Hacker News, Reddit, and LeetCode. Google has an uptime of 99.9%. We can see the URL, the status, the response time, 353 milliseconds. We can see the date on which each of these things happened. Looks like they've got this set for once per minute. And some of these are 228 seconds, and some of them are more than a second. Stuff happens. Actions, open site details. Let's take a look at this. So from here, we can see all this information. It's been up for 9 days, or that's when this uptime monitor was added. Last check was 18 seconds ago. Last response time, and when does the certificate expire? We can see uptime total checks with a 99% uptime. Total incidents. Interesting. It says 25, but when I hover over it, it switches to 0. That's interesting. I don't know what that is. Average response time is 307 milliseconds. And then down here, we can actually see a chart of what that looks like, which is cool. So for some reason, I've always really liked these charts. There's just something futuristic about them. And I know that sounds dumb because they've been around forever, but I've always really enjoyed these charts like this. We've got some history for status codes and messages and dates and times and statuses. That all looks really good. I dig all of that with some pagination down here. That all looks really cool. Let's see. It's definitely my attention. Sorry, so it definitely has my attention. Hold on, I need to go back farther up. It won't work with a self-signed cert. That's good to know. I don't think it's a firewall issue. Like I said, I'm new to this. I was going to try Traffic since I was using Coolify, but started using Portainer and Caddy rather. A lot easier and still learning security. Yeah, I agree with that. And Traffic can be difficult to learn. Traffic has a super powerful reverse proxy, and there's just a lot you can do with it. So I'd like it checking every 20 to 30 seconds. I think there are certain things that you can. Let me come back over to my instance here. Let's go to page. It's not page speed. Infrastructure monitor. Yeah, so like infrastructure monitor, for instance, can do every 15 seconds or every 30 seconds, 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Page speed, let's take a look at this. This will do every 3, 5, 10, 20 hour day week. Incidents, there's nothing there. Maintenance, we can create maintenance windows. But anyway, yes, there are different check frequencies for different things. I think, honestly, part of me would like to have it so that so I could put in my own, like here for uptime. 1 minute's probably fine, but for super mission critical stuff, you might want to check every 30 seconds and have it send a notification after X number of, like if it checks every 30 seconds for 2 minutes, then send me a notification. Also, like somebody mentioned earlier, having the ability to be like, okay, it's down, run this script. I don't know how that would be possible. I'm not a developer, but it would be neat if you could do something like, or have it run a command of, like SSH in and run Docker Docker compose restart or something, right? That would be neat. I don't know if that's what they're shooting for with this, but I would like to be able to dictate my own frequency to have things checked. So each one is going to be a little bit different, but I totally understand where you're coming from on that. It definitely has my attention. I have a very limited setup, but that doesn't mean I can't use it. I'll chuck it in a VM later and play around with it for sure. That's awesome. Ping was complaining that you weren't giving it a proper URL. That was probably my fault. All websites and demo. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Looks like they don't use an IP, maybe only DNS. Try to use DNS instead of IPs. It should work with IP, but there is a glitch probably. And dude, Gorkum, thank you for just laying it out like that. Like, this is still in active development, and things may break. And that's why we're not going to go through a lot of the real technical stuff. We're not going to go through the setup process. That said, let's actually come back over here to their GitHub just real quick. Right, we talked about earlier. We talked about in their GitHub that there's a dev distribution or a dev dist prod and test, right? And each of these was updated 2 weeks ago, and I know that they're actively being worked on wherever they're being worked on. So, for instance, these are going to be more recent than what you're going to find on like hub.docker.com, right? Based on what I was told by Alex yesterday. Geez, excuse me. But what you can do is you could clone the repository, navigate your way to this folder, find this build images.sh, make it executable, and run it, and it will build the most current version available. Of course, look, this is very old. This is months old. Let's look at the dev. 2 weeks ago for the Docker Compose, dist. Okay, it looks like a lot of these are a few months old, so maybe they're just doing everything internally before they push it to the repository. But my point stands. You can come into any of these different versions, modify this build images.sh to be executable, and have it build whatever the most recent version of whatever's going on in here. If you want to go that route and try out some different things and some different versions of this. So just know that it's actively being worked on. You may run into a hiccup here and there. but it's it's a work in progress, and that's again kind of why I wanted to show it, is because it's still early development. They're actively, if we come over, I don't know why I switched back over to my face. They've got issues in here, which I appreciate. They've got 40 open issues, but they've got 370 closed issues, things that they have addressed, fixed, rectified, answered, whatever. So they're actively working on this. Some of these Docker pending. Yeah, okay. I just discovered this myself. This is Alex. I was chatting with him yesterday. Server container. Yeah. So, but again, they're super proactive about answering questions, super professional, super friendly. I dig it. So anyway, if you want to, you can try out different versions by cloning the repository, wherever it went, and then navigating over, building the images fresh for yourself if you want to go that route. And I think that's awesome. I'm trying to set up pfSense on my 3 gig network crawls to 200. Oh, that's rough. We'll definitely look into that. I appreciate that, Gorkum. I really, really do. Didn't check. How new is Checkmate? They've been working on this for about 6 or 7 months, I believe. I think that's what I remember finding out during an initial email. Try uptime with a URL and not an IP, so DNS only. I don't have an IP. Well, I mean, okay, so like I can do, right, I can do like, I'll just do my own, techreviews.com. Views, that's fine. Notify, great. And that worked fine, right? Like we can see that right here, it's up. The LXC, based on just the IP address, worked, but when I tried to add a port to it, it kind of crapped out. So I'm not entirely sure. Again, but although I am, because they're working on integrating port stuff into this. So I'd like to check my website every 20 to 30 seconds. That honestly seems a bit excessive. Like I have uptime Kuma monitor my stuff about once a minute or once every 5 minutes. I don't remember. Every 20 to 30 seconds seems like a lot. pfSense needs a decent processor. That makes sense. Mine is in a home lab, so nothing critical. True, amazing progress for a one-whole project, and looking at their site, a pretty accomplished team. So good things to look forward to. I agree. Reginald Chan. Checkmate can do that as well. Let's add this option next time. Cool. Thank you. Any ET on the port monitoring? That's a good question. Regardless of errors, why would I choose this instead of uptime monitor? So we talked about that early, Surgical. I'm not trying to convince you to use this. I'm not trying to tell you to use this. I'm just showing you other options that are out there. Like I might, honestly, if it's me, if I'm being 100% honest, I probably wouldn't use Checkmate for a while, not till it's more developed. 100% honesty there. I think it's got a lot of promise. I think that they're making a lot of great progress. I don't know that it's ready for me to use as my primary way of monitoring things as it currently stands. But again, we talked about this at length at the beginning of the stream. I'm not trying to convince you to use anything. Like I'm not. I'm trying to do a couple of things, and one of these I just thought about without. So my first thing is I'm just trying to show people what's out there, good, bad, or indifferent. Mostly good or indifferent, but I'm just trying to show people what's out there and what's available that might work for them. Right? I'm not trying to say you should use this because. I'm saying, hey, here's a cool option that I found that might interest you. That's all I'm trying to say with regard to doing these demonstrations, these videos, these live streams, these tutorials. So the other thing that I'm trying to do is give recognition. Sorry, let me try that again. The other thing I'm trying to do is give recognition to these development teams who are creating these projects. right? There's 100 different ways you can monitor a server or a Docker container or a website. There's so many different ways that you can do that. And we need competition, not just in this space, but whether it's server and application and website monitoring, whether it's note-taking application, whether it's content management systems, we need competition in those different spheres. Because if we don't, then what motivation do any of them have to keep developing new, better features? They don't have any motivation other than their passion for the project, right? So when somebody comes up with a new way of doing something, I like to take a look at it. I like to make a piece of content about it so that they get recognition for the hard work that they've done, and so that other people can find out about a project that they may not have known about. Again, I mentioned this earlier, but like when we took a look at WebKit, I think it was WebKit. I can't remember what it was called now, but when we took a look at that, I had just learned about it, and the project had more than 20,000 stars on GitHub, and I had never heard of it. So I'm not trying to convince you. I'm not trying to tell you why to use this over something else. If this has features that you want to use, then use it. If it doesn't, that's fine. You don't have to use it. I'm not trying to convince you to use it. I'm just showing you what's out there. So what does it truly monitor? Docker containers, websites, servers, databases, changes, or triggers? I would say Docker containers, websites, servers, basically that. Yeah, Gorkum, exactly right. My take is all of these platforms are a big win for open source. 100% agree with that. Go ahead and choose one depending on your requirements. Perfectly said. Checkmate monitors, there you go. CPU, RAM, desktop, Docker status, website performance, and server uptime, database changes, triggers are not in the roadmap currently. Cool. Will Cranmer, your name's really hard for me to say, and I apologize. That's the money shot, 100% honest, that's why I'm here. I check the mission critical services such as NPM and Athelia every 30 seconds, but for other services, 1 to 5 minutes. That makes sense. We're building Checkmate as there are several uptime monitoring only solutions out there. We wanted to add infra monitoring, security audits, and website performance on top. Perfect. Hey, Sam, thanks for joining. Appreciate you being here. Glad to see more familiar faces. Gorkum goes on to say, now we're building global distributed uptime monitoring where an organization can get data from 150 plus countries, but this is another story and may not be a good fit for personal projects. Cool. There are a lot of GitHub gems. Yeah, I agree. And that's why there will be days where I'll just be sitting there drinking my coffee. I'll throw up a new video from a creator that I watch, and I'll just start searching on GitHub just to see what I can find that's new. I keep saying this, but I'll go over to like the self-host newsletter website so I can see if anything has been updated there. I'm always looking for new projects. And in fact, recently I had a developer reach out to me about his project that I'm super excited about, that we're going to talk about another time. But I'm always looking for those gems, for those little, little was the wrong word. I'm always looking for new projects to check out for myself, to get excited about, to share with you guys again, so you guys can see the options and so that the developers can get the credit they deserve. And look, I'm not trying to say that I am the be all end all. I'm not. I've got an audience, I've got a community, I've got viewers, whatever nomenclature you want to use for the people who watch me do this. And there's a lot of really great people in this community who want to see this stuff. They want to know what's out there. They want to see the new stuff. And that's where I come in. I share what I find interesting. I share my opinion on what I find interesting. And you guys have been amazing enough to watch. Swift, Ryud Swift. I 100% there's a lot of GitHub gems. We're getting closer to our own systems like a Jarvis. Yeah, I hope so. Funny enough, my DS1621 XS Plus I named Jarvis years ago when I got it. It's been like that for me. I only started in sysadmin roughly 2 months ago. Wow. It's complete and will be included in the next release. Plagueless. Oh, that's for the port monitoring. We're fighting with colors right now. A bit obsessed. We'll get everything wrapped up in most of a week or so. That's awesome. So sorry. Hold on. Oh, where was it? Man, there was an issue that I saw. It was closed, and I'll never find it again. Where there was some kind of back and forth, I think, between Gorkum and somebody else about kind of the layout of how these different boxes should look. And I really appreciated, like, Gorkum was like, hey, I really like this, and the developer was like, hey, I want to do that, and there was some back and forth. I loved the interaction in that. So Reginald Chan says, I'd like an all-in-one monitoring solution. I agree. I'll be switching then. Infra monitoring is important to me. That's great. Looks like a great product. I agree. Glad to be supporting new projects. Now I need a good reverse proxy. We just talked about Pangolin in a live stream and a dedicated video recently. You should check out. And Xeraxi is also another one we did a live stream about that I may do a video about here at some point in the near future. And for SecOps performance for every site is very desirable. I am in. So there you go. So yeah, let's kind of keep digging, right? So we looked at kind of uptime. We kind of dug through that. Oops, let me jump back over to here. So this is their demo server. This is not my server. And we can see that uptime, again, we've got, like Google, there are 404 here, has been reported as not found. That's deliberate. That's to demonstrate what this looks like. Of course, I'm sure that the Google hates seeing all of these 404 errors. Oh, interesting. Okay. Sorry, I was just like, on incidents, it says there's 29,789 incidents. And when I hover over, like if you're not directly on one of these bars, it drops to 0. That's what I was saying earlier and trying to wrap my head around. That's how we can toggle that. Let's go back to uptime. GitHub, again, same kind of stuff here. But we're not seeing bar charts on that. Interesting. So that's what the uptime is going to look like. Again, these great bar graphs, response time with some general information, how many incidents there were. Again, love all of this. Page speed. So if you are into making sure that people have the best possible experience when visiting your website, page speed is important. And it can be handled any number of different ways and corrected any number of different ways. And when you deploy this via the Docker Compose, I believe there is, here we go. I believe there is some stuff you put in like an env file here to grab a page speed API key to put in there. That goes, like I said, into the Docker Compose or into an env file, whichever way you want to handle that. That will actually go out and grab legitimate page speed information about whatever website you're monitoring. So again, let's jump over to Y News Combinator, or the Y Combinator, whatever. Let's take a look at this, right? So again, we've got the name, the URL, how often it's being checked. Checks since, so it's been checked for the last 29 days. Last check was 1 minute ago. And then over here, we can see the score history. And we can see accessibility is 56.99999, best practices is 96, performance is 100, and SEO is 75. And you can toggle these on and off as necessary. And we can kind of see where there are little dips that happen for whatever reason. And then performance metrics are over here. Performance report is here. Values and estimates. Values are estimated and may vary. And we can see the calculator here. That doesn't do anything. The C calculator doesn't work. But again, that's fine. But if you're like, say, a web developer like I was for a while, front end, I only did front end. I did very, very, very little back end stuff. I wrote a few functions here and there for different things, but that was about it. But if you're super interested in making sure that your website is accessible and easy for search engines to read and index, page speed is super important. You want to make sure that everything there is as high as you can possibly get it for your scores. Infrastructure, let's take a look at this. So this is where I ran into an issue yesterday. And again, Alex was amazing at helping me doing some troubleshooting. At one point I had just screwed some stuff up, and I fixed it, and then I got the information we needed to actually do the troubleshooting. And Alex was super, super helpful through all of that. We've got our test server, we've got an IP address and a port there. We can see the status. The frequency I've noticed doesn't work. I'm not sure what the issue is there. I'm sure that's being worked on. But again, we can see CPU, memory, and disk usage right there in that nice little chart. Actions, again, nothing under actions. That's probably because of the user type that the demo account is. But if we click here, we can see a lot more stuff. So again, active CPUs, 1 physical core, 1 logical core, frequency, no CPU temperature, and that could be a virtualization thing. There's any number of reasons that might not be there. Memory, disk, uptime, and the operating system. Again, those same charts we saw a minute ago. And then some more charts down here that's more or less the same thing, but more historical versus real time. And I love how this looks. I think it's great. We can break this down to day, week. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Now we can see some stuff. So memory usage on January 11th was relatively high, all things considered, and then it dropped off, and then it built back up, and it dropped off. Same thing with CPU usage. January 11th, 12th. Yeah, something was going on. Again, no CPU temperature, but we can see the disk zero usage has been slowly climbing. That's probably logs and all kinds of stuff like that. So that makes 100% sense. Let's see. Did watch that. I can use it. Can I use it without tunneling and WireGuard option? I believe there is a local only option. I believe there is with regards to Pangolin. I'm pretty sure there is a local only option, but we're not going to get into that right now. Gorkum says that's our aim. Other platforms can do all of those infrastructure uptime, SecOps, WebPerf, but we're planning to go very simple and focused with a great UI UX. Some of those colors are a bit shameful for now, but I promise it will get fixed soon. I agree with that. Oh, any chance we'd be able to hide UI elements that have like null data like the CPU? That's a good idea. I really dig that. Like if we could, I don't know, if like on a page, can we like, let's see, can we go over here? No, let's go over here. Let's take a look at like infrastructure. So yeah, you can. When you're building it out, right? Like when you're building your infrastructure monitor, you can customize, nope. I don't know if that's actually going to affect what shows though. You'll get notifications for these things, but I don't know if it will toggle these actual blocks on and off. That's a good question. That would definitely be for their team. Okay, that's awesome. No worries. I'll look into it. Appreciate the info. Absolutely, man. That's why we're here, so we can be a community and chat about this stuff. So yeah, it would be nice to be able to toggle some of these boxes on and off as necessary. I don't know if maybe there's a, like a, let's see, let's come over to here. I don't know if maybe there's a configure option in here that would allow you to go in and turn some of those on and off. I don't know what that looks like, but that would be pretty cool. Incidents, forbidden, not found. Lots and lots of incidents in here. 6,600 pages of incidents. Oh, okay. Then I was right. Yeah. So when you're building this out, if you don't check the box, it won't show it. Apparently, that's cool. That seemed fairly intuitive, but you never know. So if it's new, does it have the ability to notify from the app or some config to connect to an automated tool somehow? Right now, as far as notifications are concerned, it's just email, but they are working on enhanced notifications with integrations like Discord, Telegram, and Slack, those kinds of things. That's planned, but not quite there yet. Do we have An API to interact with? That's a good question. Yes, there is. Well, I believe there should be an API to work with based on the server address that we saw somewhere. Yeah, like localhost, this port, API v1 metrics. APIs are exposed via Swagger under API docs. There you go. So if I'm understanding right, Ryud Swift, again, I know I screwed that up. Does it have the ability to notify from the app? So like, are you saying like, can it get like little notification bells, kind of like Godify has, where like you can turn notifications on and off via your address bar up here? That would be kind of neat. If you are encountered with an issue about infrastructure monitoring, you can create an issue on GitHub repo with capturing your system information. Mert, I chatted with Alex yesterday via email as I was going through some stuff, and he knows the issues that I'm having, and he said it's already being worked on. So I didn't open a ticket because it's already being worked on. That's why I didn't. Roadmap, the DNS prop tracking tool is cool and useful. Yeah, I think that'll be really cool too. So again, incidents, nothing here. This is mine. Let's come back over to here. Maintenance. So this is maintenance windows. So basically the idea is you come in here and you can say maintenance for, so you're just giving it a friendly name. Like, maintenance, or let's say Friday at 4:45 p.m. Maintenance repeats weekly. We can choose our calendar date there. Let's say the 24th. Start time, is going to be like 4:45 p.m. Okay. Duration, let's say 2 hours. And then you can search, or you can apply this to certain monitors so that they don't send you alerts. So you could just say like LeetCode's going to get maintenanced that time, and Hacker News is going to get maintenanced at that time, and Google PageSpeed is going to get maintenanced at that time. I think so. Okay, so just from a UI UX perspective, right? Like we've got Google HTTP, we've got Google 404 HTTP, we've got Google PageSpeed, right? So I selected, let's do this again. So like, I'm going to select Google PageSpeed. It just says Google, and that's not super intuitive. I don't know which of those different versions of Google it is. And look, that may change. Let me do this. Let's do maintenance. Edit. Yeah. Okay. And okay, that's something else. This is one of those cases where it's in here, and I can't edit it. Edit maintenance? Can I edit it? Nope. That is just a save. So I feel like this should say save. Again, from a UI UX perspective, I can't remove this. I can't edit this. I can't add or remove monitors from this maintenance window, which means that if I need to, if I add something else to my server and I want to maintenance it at the same time, I have to create a new maintenance window. I have to create a new maintenance window in here. I can't go back and edit this, and that's frustrating. Also, I can't see which version of Google I selected there. Was it the PageSpeed? Was it the 404? Was it just the standard HTTP? I can't see that. There's nothing here to indicate what kind of monitor this was. Whether it's a hover state, whatever it is, I can't do anything here. I would make this editable, and I would give this a hover state or a parenthetical PageSpeed, HTTP, something, so that I don't have to rebuild a new maintenance window anytime I add a new service to that maintenance window timeframe. I hope that makes sense. Checkmate has a Discord channel after this great live video. You can also reach me privately on Discord. Happy to help as much as I can. Dude, you've been amazing with all of this. I super appreciate you taking the time to answer my questions and be here on there. Thank you, Collins, for sharing that. That's amazing. Appreciate you doing that as well. But yeah, I would definitely consider here on these monitors, make this editable, and also give us some sort of reference as to which monitor type this was. just from somebody who did UI UX years and years and years ago. That'd be my biggest suggestion there. Under accounts, you can change some of this stuff. You can't edit your email. Again, I feel like that's something that may need to be able to be edited. Again, personal preference there. And you can change your photo there. Dude, how's it going? Glad to have a self-host in the house. Ethan, thank you so much for hanging out. Appreciate you chiming in. So yeah, so again, to go back to this, I really feel like some of these fields need to be editable just because things change. You know, it's just as simple as that. For settings, we've got time zones, dark mode. There is light and dark mode, which cool, I dig it. Light mode is light. I will say that. And then we've got the about, which tells you which version you've got, and then of course a link over to the GitHub and who it's developed by. And then under other, we've got support, which pops open the Discord, which we're going to close. I don't want to get in there right now. I don't want to get sidetracked with that. We've got discussions, which is the GitHub discussions page. I think that's great. Docs, all of this, love seeing all of this, and then the change log. And then what things were changed, fixed, updated, whatever in this most recent version. I love all of that. Oh, yeah, it's that new. It is that new, right? Yeah, oh Lord, my eyeballs too white. I agree. Does DB Tech have chat or Discord? I do. I don't have the link for it. Maybe. Hold on, let me try this. I don't know if that's actually going to do anything. I hope it does. I don't know if it's going to, though. Nope, it sure didn't. Hold on. Copy link address. Oh, it's been shared by James. Well, I shared it again. The Discord link that he shared was for Checkmate. He may have also shared mine. I don't know. Let's see. Just checking. Okay, so I might be able to answer this. So yeah, team, invited team member. So there is super admin and member. So super admin can edit things that are editable, and members can just view things. So there are two different types of user accounts with Checkmate at the time of this live stream. Well, I don't know if it was more better, but it's in there multiple times now. So now everybody can join and should join our Discord to hang out and chat. Okay, and Collins also shared Checkmate's Discord and the DB Tech Discord. All kinds of stuff going on in there. I appreciate that. All right, so that's kind of the general gist. I probably missed something along the way, but that's kind of the general gist of Checkmate. As far as uptime and page speed, infrastructure, incidents, maintenance accounts. And of course, they're planning on adding a bunch more stuff like status pages. I'll be excited to see status pages, enhanced notifications. I can't tell you how excited I am about that. Again, when I first sent an email to the team about an issue that I had with my installation a few weeks ago, I'd asked about notifications for like Discord and Telegram and that, and they said that was already planned. They're just working on it. So yeah, so I'm really excited about Checkmate. Like Ork and I both mentioned, having options out there is for the greater good of the open source community for a number of reasons. It gives people options because options are important for every reason you can possibly think of. But it also, in theory, innovates ingenuity and innovation, and it innovates innovation. It keeps people wanting to keep pushing themselves farther to create new, better things. And I think without having more options out there, things would stagnate, and people would lose interest in the hobby. They would lose interest in the education and the whole bit. So having the ability to have options out there, I think, is super, super, super important. So So no, I think this is a great product. I'm super excited about what they're doing with Checkmate, what they're going to do with Checkmate. The community that they're building, super great as well. So yeah, let me do your rules page. I need fixed. Right. Hold on. I just want to make sure your rules page might need fixing. Ask us to just write up accept. Yeah, we're actively working on our acceptance joining the Discord thing. It's been discussed quite a bit recently. There's just been so much going on. The three admins, we haven't had a chance to sit down and do anything with it. But I agree, we're working on it, I promise. Ben, snack time is here. Was just about to start editing, and I keep distracting myself. Dude, I get that so much. The first hour of this was just me being distracted with chat. And I apologize to the Checkmate team for those distractions. And thank you for putting up with my nonsense, and thank you for hanging out. But anyway, I think Checkmate is going to be a very cool tool as it gets developed further and more functionality is added to it. If you've got issues, if you've got suggestions, all of that's available over on their Discord, over on their GitHub. Definitely check them out. Links to everything should be easily findable. So, do tech analysis assistant for Forex, basically? I think I missed something. Oh, just busy with a personal project. Okay, that's the part I missed about the Forex. I built a Forex website like 15 years ago. Like, it was just hey, I'm a Forex trader. Contact me if you need help. It was one of those just kind of what's landing pages. Will Cranmer says, if we don't support each other, no one else will. 100%. Mert says, I've noted all of your UX suggestions. Thank you for the suggestions. Absolutely. It's because I spent so long building, building front ends. It's kind of one of those things. Like, you spend so long doing it, you can't not, right? Like, yeah, you see like, oh, I would have done it this way, or I would have done it that way. Whether it matters how I would have done it's irrelevant. But I like to throw those suggestions out, even in videos that I've made about projects in the past. I've said stuff like, hey, if the developer ever sees this, I would do this, that, or the other thing. But it doesn't mean you have to, right? It's just me thinking out loud. So I appreciate you being open to my suggestions. I really do. First time I've joined a live and was thinking, how do I get into groups with this? I know no one that does any ops. I don't know. I mean, I think the first step is bringing it up. I think that's a great way to handle that. Hold on. Okay, this is still scalding hot, and it's hot tea. That's all it is. But we've been at this for 2 hours and 4 minutes, and it's had the lid off the entire time. It's still so hot I can't drink it, and it's really making me sad. Like, I really wanted some like slightly more than room temperature tea by this point. It's just so hot. So anyway, that's me complaining for no other reason than I like to complain sometimes. So, oh, well, there you go. Alexia says, I'm in ops transitioning to DevOps. That's awesome. I put the tea in a fridge. Pour some into a mug. I mean, I guess I could finish my water from the other day and then pour it into that. Yeah, the fridge is there. Hold on. I'm gonna do this. Oh, jeez. Sorry, we got a bunch of snow last night, and it is blinding white out there right now. So, yeah, let's pour this. Let's pour this into here. Like that. We'll let it cool off. See, this is why I keep you guys around. You give me the advice for the simple stuff that I didn't think about. So thank you. In a couple of minutes, I can enjoy that. So yeah. So look, I'm super stoked that some of the team was able to join us today and kind of go through this. I will definitely be making a video about Checkmate in the future, though I don't know Um, I don't know when that's going to be. I want to give them a chance to get this kind of fleshed out a little bit more before I do kind of a dedicated video. I really wanted to cover this in a live stream and get their input and let them kind of interact with the community a little bit. I think that'll definitely be helpful as well. The other thing, wow, I didn't even realize that. See, that's just it. Like if we come over to here, hopefully you can see that. Yeah, currently, the project has 3,300 stars. And if you want to support them, you can go over there and give them a star if you haven't already. I saw a couple of people did. So thank you for doing that, supporting them like that. But yeah, if you want to keep up to date, go over to GitHub, give them a star, join their Discord, give them your input. All kinds of ways you can help support them by just doing real little things like stars and chatting with them. I mean, really. So again, I want to thank them for joining today. I don't know how long they can hang out. I don't know that there's really much else to talk about unless I've missed something. Let me take a look over here. Let me take a look over here instead. No, sorry. I was just for those of you curious, I was down here in the bottom left where like the account stuff is, and there's just an option to log out. That's all I was looking at there. So nothing down there other than just the option to log out. But yeah, so I think that's Checkmate kind of in a nutshell for the time being while they're still working on some things. But I love where it's headed, and I've said that about half a dozen times now. So let's see. And am I missing anything in chat? Reginald Chan says, no, put the tea in the snow. I don't want to go back outside if I don't have to. SSO would be cool. I think I do agree. SSO would be pretty cool. I don't know that that's currently a thing, but adding that as a possible suggestion or whatever. Sorry, I'm looking over here. There's a thing here that's like to give suggestions or something, and I can't think of what that tab is called. But SSO single sign-on would be amazing. To integrate with like whether it's OAuth or something like that. That would be really cool if they could add that at some point. I almost drank the super hot tea. Whew, and I've got this. Oh, that's better already. Thank you so much for that suggestion. Feature requests. Thank you. Yeah, because like this has it doesn't have feature requests. Feature requests I think should be in here on the GitHub page. But again, that's just me. So yeah, Andreas, thank you for saying that, because I couldn't think of what that was called. It's like when you request features, what is that called? So again, everything should be linked in the video description. If you want to go check out any of those resources, it's normally under issues. Maybe that's where I missed it. Let's look. Issues. Let's okay, we are there. So under issues, I see, let's see, new issues, of course. Let me see if I can even get logged in. Hold on. Let me do this. What is this? Oh. Adam, if you're here, thank you for the donation on PayPal. I really do appreciate that. I'm going to get logged into my GitHub account here. And to do that, I need this. Like that. There we go. Later. Okay, here we go. So I'm under issues. I don't see, there's in discussions. Man, never know where it's going to be. Latest. Join the Discord, Checkmate. They've got a grant program that you should check out if you want to do that. New discussion. I mean, you could probably put it under here. I don't see it though. I don't see check discussions. The ideas are there. Oh yeah, ideas. Yeah, that might be a good idea. A good idea. Yeah, the ideas might be a good idea. But there's I think I feel like I remember seeing feature requests in other GitHubs, but maybe I'm just misremembering. Ideas is in the right. It would be cool to definitely look out for your lives and updates. Great stuff. Thank you. Appreciate that. Some repos also have feature request as an issue template since it's not built-in functionality. Oh, see, I didn't know that. I honestly thought feature requests was part of the built-in functionality. I genuinely thought that it was just built in. Oh, that's better already. Thank you so much for that. So, thank you for clarification on that, Ethan. I appreciate that. So I think that, does anybody have any other questions that maybe I can answer about this before we move on and talk about something else? Anybody have anything to say? Any input? Any thoughts or any ideas or anything like that? Okay, you can send feature requests by clicking the new issue button. Fair enough. That's good to know. That is good to know. Let's see here. Sorry, just taking a look, making sure I'm not missing anything. Early on, Nightbot. I still need to fix Nightbot. I apologize for that. Let's see, bunch of new followers today. Thank you guys over on Twitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 new followers on Twitch. Man, that's awesome. Thank you guys so much. Again, I'm trying to build out the Twitch a little bit so that I can get into their affiliate program, that sort of thing. So thank you guys for hanging out and following me over there. Appreciate it. So let's talk about no, I'm kidding. We're not going to talk about politics. I don't want to do that. That's awful. Regarding Checkmate, Reginald, hold on. Oh, okay, I got you. I'm just trying to think about what else we got going on. We talked about that. What else do I have going on over here? Maybe I can give you guys a little bit of an insight as far as what I'm working on for new ideas. No, man, I really need to clean this up. Here's the problem that I run into quite a bit. Do I need to log back in? I do. Internet. Excuse me, a little burp there. So here's one of the problems that I run into quite a bit when I'm doing all of this testing and trying out new things and new containers, new services, and that sort of thing. Like, all of these are things I've done recently. And some of these we've talked about a little bit. Like we're talking about this Komodo. I tested out for a little bit. Zero Monitor honestly and the Hemelic app, both of those have completely escaped my brain. Postas and Mixpost are, again, they're variations of kind of the same thing, and I want to cover both of them. Mixpost, yeah. Which is this. If you guys manage any kind of social media, whether it's for yourself or a company or anything like that, sometimes you've got to post across multiple platforms kind of all at the same time or schedule stuff out in advance. Services like Buffer have been around for a long time. Mixpost and Postas or Posties, Postiz, are both self-hosted versions of that do the same thing differently. So I'm thinking about covering both of those at some point. Obviously not together, but I don't know how much like a mixed post or a post would resonate with the community, because I don't know how many people are out there in my community managing social media, where they're doing scheduling and analytics and that sort of thing. So I don't know if that would be of any interest to the community. So definitely curious about that. I'll have to maybe I'll put out a community poll on the community tab. Maybe I'll do that at some point here in the near future. Snack time. Ben says, I'm doing a video on Alias Vault. I think I've heard of that. Alias Vault. Alien Vault. I guess then I'm just gonna have to check out your video when it comes out. Alias Vault. Oh yeah, okay. I have actually seen this. I haven't dug into it too much. Open source password and alias manager. Alias Vault is an end-to-end encrypted password and alias manager that protects your privacy by creating alternate identities, passwords, and email addresses for every website you use, keeping your personal information private. That's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. Oh, they've got like the different builds. Nice. All right. Well, cool, Ben. I genuinely hope that video does well for you. That sounds like a very cool project. Let's see. Ben says, I experimented with Postas and it wasn't very friendly. Yeah, it's with both mixed post and Postas or Posties or whatever it's called. They both still need some work. But again, I like to cover stuff kind of early so that we can, as a community, hold on, I think I got to sneeze. It's coming. Sorry about that. I thought I muted that. I didn't. That mute button, I got to move that or something. Maybe I should need to get a new Stream Deck. I don't know, something. Anyway, but yeah, I like to, thanks, James, appreciate it. Sometimes I like to cover stuff early so that we as a community can give our input, our suggestions, that kind of stuff, if a developer is open to hearing that kind of stuff. So I've considered covering those things. I'm leaning one way over the other, but I'm not sure when I'm going to get to it. It might be a few weeks out still. Space Dorg is back. Thanks for coming back. Appreciate seeing the names again. It says, first I want to say hi to everyone here. Hi, and thank you for all the videos you've made. No, thank you for watching, seriously. He also continues, if I may make a request, it would be for a follow-up videos on your previous content with tips and tricks that go a bit deeper than just the installation process. And that comes all the way from Norway. I've talked about that a little bit in the past. And I got to figure out, in fact, I've attempted to do some of that in the past. The issues that I run into are something we've actually talked about as well, but we're going to talk about it again because I feel like it's worth chatting about again. So, I've got a huge library of content on my channel for videos or for things that I've covered, right? Like if we just come to my homepage, 568 videos. We've talked about a lot of stuff on this channel. And I love that. I love that we've covered so many different things here on the channel. One of the issues that I have, because there are absolutely some things that I want to recover. Like I want to go back and take another look at next term, because again, that was a project we covered when it was still very early development. And like within like 2 days of me releasing that video, they made a huge update, but I didn't want to immediately turn around and make another video about it. So one of the issues that I have run into multiple times is this. When I come over to my community post and I'm like, hey community, if you were to go back through my library and find a video, an older video of mine that I've covered already, like a topic I've covered, a video I've already made, which of those videos do you think I should go back and take another look at and redo because it needs an update, because I didn't cover something properly, I missed something, which of my pre-existing content or which of my pre-existing videos should I go back and redo? And I never get an answer. Collins, I will throttle you over the internet. The issue is this, right? I'll say like, hey, which of my pre-existing videos should I go back and redo because it needs an update, because I missed something, because I was wrong? And somebody will be like, I really wish you would make a video about how I can take this potato I've got in my closet and turn it into a nuclear reactor so that I can power my Chromebook and my Raspberry Pi for just long enough to make my car start. Look, I'm being hyperbolic there, but not by much. When I ask these questions, like I'm genuinely asking because I want the community's input on which of my videos they feel I should remake. Because I've remade several videos several times, and some of them do well and some of them don't, and that's fine. I accept that. But I'm genuinely trying to get interaction from the community when I ask these questions about which of my pre-existing videos should I go back and redo, not which new radically different thing should I take a look at to satiate your need to know how to do something I've never covered. And maybe that's selfish of me. Maybe I'm just being a jerk by not wanting to tell you how to turn your potato into a nuclear reactor. But when I ask these questions, I'm asking these very specific questions for very specific reasons, and I can never get an answer. Or I'll say, hey, look, I've got 3 video ideas. Which of these should I do? And I'll make a poll out of it. And inevitably, it will just be full of comments of, look, I've got this phone and I want to contact NASA via the ISS through my phone, but I don't actually want to use the telephone feature. I need an app that will be encrypted 8 different ways. So when I ask these questions, I have a really hard time getting a solid answer from anybody. I don't know if people are just thinking they're funny or if they're genuinely curious about how to do these things. But when I ask these questions, I can never get a straight answer about any of it. I can never say, oh, well, there was this one time you made this video about, I don't know, this is going to take forever, but you made this video about this thing way back when, and I had questions about X, Y, or Z. And so it makes it really hard for me to decide what content to recover. Sounds like an awesome video topic. Yeah, have I covered Bookstack? It was one of the early videos that I did. Yeah, in fact, I still use Bookstack. Well, I say that I have a Bookstack instance up right there, but it looks like I haven't updated it in like 2 years. So I've covered it. I have, but it's been a while. Maybe I should take another look at that. And Ben from Snack Time says, yeah, it's so true. I've been found guilty of doing specific videos for 1 or 2 people. I've seen that. And honestly, I'm like, dude, you can't do that. It's gonna screw things up. But like, I'm not you. I can't tell you how to run your channel. It's just, I have a different goal, probably. And so I wouldn't do that for any number of reasons. Now, that's not to say that I haven't had somebody ask me a question and I'll just make a quick little, like a one-shot, here's an answer to your question, 2-minute video, and upload that unlisted and share that link in my response to them. I've done that plenty of times. But yeah, so that's what it is. Oh yeah, his video on Bookstack got me up and loving that product. Yep. I found it by mistake while searching for a knowledge-based solution for my company. Works great. It 100% does. It's a great solution. That's the thing I love about his content. He's done videos about just about everything. Yeah, did I think you should redo videos about installing and configuring Proxmox? I've made several videos about Proxmox. I've also already covered their SDN. I made that video. In fact, I made 2 videos about the SDN shortly after it launched, honestly. Let me see if I can find it. Stock Age Glance. Wait, here we go. So copy link address. So there is the Proxmox SDN setup, and then as a goof, I made this video where I talk about hiding a home lab in your home lab by using Proxmox SDN to set up internal networking to not pull an IP address from your router. Let's see, I'm missing something over here. Missing something over here. Mandy brings up a good point. She says, "I know you don't really do finance apps, and that's true. I don't have enough. I don't have enough of the knowledge about the terminologies and the functionality that one would expect from a finance app to know which things to cover effectively. And I've done videos like that in the past, where I've taken a topic that I knew effectively nothing about and tried to make a video about it. And it effectively was like, here's the homepage, here's their GitHub page, here's how to install it. Thanks for watching." And I felt kind of dirty doing that. It didn't feel authentic to what I try to do here on the channel. So I'm hoping that somebody with more finance knowledge does something about it. I may take a look at it because I watched that, but would definitely like to know more about it. Yeah, he said he's been working on it for like 4 years, if I remember right. Ben says Proxmox should hire David in their marketing department. I mean, that'd be cool, but I don't know that they would want to do that. You know what there aren't very many videos of? Solus VM, yeah. DE says, "I've been rewatching your older videos. If I see anything that needs to be recovered due to updates or mistakes, I'll let you know on Discord." That's perfect. Thank you. It's not Dandy says, "Hello. I would like, if this Docker programming, I can make my own server like in-game." I'm not entirely sure what you're asking, and I apologize for that. I want to see a video of building a Sun Unix machine. Yeah, I bet. He was indeed working on Monitor for 4 years. Okay. So continue this series on Chasm workspaces. You know, that thought had crossed my mind, honestly. Even while I was scrolling through my library of content here, I've thought about that a few different times. And I feel like that's actually something that would make a lot of sense. So I think that's a really, really good suggestion. Thank you for that. It's a great suggestion. Chasm has made huge updates, much nicer. And that surprises me. Not that they've made updates, but that it's much nicer. Because when I looked at it last time, it was pretty great. And I worked with them directly for a few different videos. Oh yeah, in fact, right here we go. Installing Chasm in Cloudflare, Chasm rolling images and persistent storage. That was kind of a supplemental video. Getting started, container isolation with Chasm. This one, in fact, the computer that I'm holding up right there, I actually sent that to my grandma the other day. She needed something new. Her computer that she had for the last few years wasn't great. It was dying on her. She had a hard drive that was crapping out on her. So it was an old. Anyway, she needed a new system, so I sent her that one. But this all started because I got hacked. And again, that was a couple of years ago. It was in October, a couple of years ago when that happened. Let me see what this says. Does it have a date? It doesn't. But yeah, I got hacked in October a couple of years ago from. It was one of those sponsorship things, and they're like, "Hey, we want to pay you X number of dollars for you to make a video about this thing we've got." And I was like, "Cool, let's do that." And they sent me a zip file, and I opened the PDF that was in there, and it ran a bunch of scripts, and it cloned my browser agent, and it copied all my cookies over to their system. luckily, I was able to get in. I noticed what happened almost immediately, and I was able to get in and change all of my credentials for YouTube. I was able to log out. I was able to change all my credentials, log out, and log back in to reset everything. They email bombed me in the process, which was their mistake. That's how I realized something had gone wrong. Like I'd looked at this thing, this email, or this PDF. I tried to open it. I noticed it was like 600 megs or something. And I was like, that doesn't seem right. So, and then nothing happened. And then all of a sudden, I'm laying in bed later that night, and I get hit with like 300 emails instantly. And I'm like, what? So I went through, and they email bombed me. And well, the first thing I take that back. The first thing I noticed is that I got an email from Amazon thanking me for signing up for Audible. I'm like, what? That confused me. So I went out. I was laying in bed. I was scrolling my phone. I was watching TV. You know, the things you're supposed to do before you go to bed. And I went out to my computer, and like I opened that email again and saw it was a legit email from Amazon. And I closed. And I went over and I canceled the trial. And when I came back to my email, I had hundreds of new emails. And I was like, what is going on? And I was like, oh crap, I've been compromised. So I was able to get in and shut everything down pretty quickly. I was lucky I didn't lose my YouTube channel. They did get a hold of my Facebook account. They did some awful things via my Facebook account. I managed to get control over that again. But it was the dumbest thing, right? Like they got a hold of my Facebook account, and they sent some nasty messages to themselves in things I can't even talk about on here, and then reported that account to get it temporarily suspended. But in the meantime of doing all of that, they had gone into my like paid promotions area. So I was putting out ads for like cheap clothes and cheap devices and cheap stuff all over the place, and that was really awful. And it took me quite a while to get my account back under my control. But yeah, honestly, them going and signing me up for Audible and email bombing me, that was their mistake. So basically at that point, I started making the Chasm content as like, hey, look, this happened to me. Here's what I could have done to isolate this, to keep this from happening. And so I made a few different videos about it, and they actually did relatively well now that I'm looking at them. So yeah, maybe I'll go back and make another video about revisiting Chasm and kind of go through maybe I'll do a video series on that at some point. That might be a lot of fun. Video idea, Mac OS on a Chromebook. Good idea. Yeah. There are some containers on Docker Hub which you can use. I've done that. Lucky you were aware and saw that. It could have been way more disastrous if you hadn't. Yeah, it absolutely could have been. Like that's the same way Linus got hacked. That's the same way a lot of other people got hacked. Was the same thing. And a few times a month, I will get an email from a domain like I think it's Polish. It's op.pl. I think it's a Polish domain. That's like their Yahoo equivalent as far as domain or email addresses are concerned, based on what I was able to ascertain from the website. And so now, like I'd mess with, like I spent months just messing with them off and on. And once they realized I knew that they were hackers and they were trying to get a hold of my account, they slowed down on that quite a bit, but I still messed with them whenever I got a chance to. And then here recently, I just set up a rule in my email to just delete all of that. Like as soon as an OPPL email comes through, it just gets deleted. I never see it. I'm just curious as to whether or not I've received any of those recently. Let's see. Nope. Trash. Let's see. Sorry, I'm just looking to see. Nope. Okay. it looks like maybe maybe they have chilled out. I don't have any in there for the last month or so. So anyway, let's see. James Veach. That name sounds familiar. Oh, okay. No, I was thinking of somebody else. But yeah, I've actually seen like some of his TED Talks and stuff. He's hilarious. Love watching his content. Really funny guy. But no, there's another guy whose name escapes me at the moment. But yeah, I like to mess with him a little bit. You've covered different ways to manage Docker containers so far. Maybe you could compare a few beginner pro options, which would attract new viewers while showing your existing ones something new. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. I'm actually gonna start taking some notes here. Come over to here, revisit Chasm. Let's see, beginner/pro options. I'd have to think about how that would work. Can you elaborate on what you mean by that, Andreas? I'm curious about what your thought is on that. And if you can't, it's fine. If you want to join Discord and chat about it there, that'd be awesome. But no, I think that's a good idea. I just need more information. I've also had an idea to do. Like, if I were setting up my first home lab for the first time, what would I put on it? Like, what are the things that I actually use all of the time that would be user friendly to install for the first time, and then also so user friendly to install, kind of easy to kind of get your head wrapped around, but the things that I actually use all of the time. Sikuda says, when I started with Docker, I used Portainer, but after a while, Portainer felt overwhelming and started doing everything from the terminal. But Portainer did teach me a lot about Docker logic. I actually did something very similar with Open Media Vault. I got started with self-hosting using Open Media Vault. It was right at the end of version 4, right into version 5. Like, I made one video on 4. But then like all the early videos on my channel were Open Media Vault 5, because it showed me kind of the things you needed. Like when you were going through and using their deployment configurator thing that was built into it at the time. It's like, okay, well, you need a user, and you need storage, and you need this, and you need that, and the other thing. And I used that for quite a while. And then I learned about Portainer. And Portainer's come a long way in the last few years. As far as their functionality and what they're able to do with it, and all of that kind of stuff. And of course, their primary focus, I think, is the business side of things, because that's where they're making their money. But they've still got their community stuff, which I super appreciate. And Neil's been really great about being approachable and being easy to talk to, and I've always liked that about him. If you looked at Convoy, it's a Proxmox user GUI for managing Proxmox servers. I have not. I looked at the Proxmox data center manager recently, and that was cool. I dug that. I said that I had looked at it, but with everything I had going on at the moment, I think it was kind of like in the middle of the holidays. I didn't have the wherewithal to dedicate that much of my brain space to learning a new platform like that. Wait, I'm thinking of something else. Hold on. Let me make sure I'm looking at the right thing, because I'm thinking of the Docker, the Portainer alternative, open source. I think I did look at this at one point early last year. And thought about getting into it, but I think one of the problems I faced at the time is I was switching out my daily driver computer so often that I didn't want to have to install it like every couple of weeks. Let's see. My journey started with Casa OS, but most apps didn't work, so I had to learn to solve the issues. Now I'm managing a Docker Swarm cluster, and that's cool, man. Like, Casa OS is a great way to learn, and it's a great way. Like, if you just need to throw something up real quick and not have to worry about it, you just need a few containers up and running. Casa OS is amazing. Zima OS is kind of the predecessor to that, or the successor to that. And it's awesome. Also, I'm actually, like I said, I've got a Zima Cube Pro down here, and I've got some drives over here that I'm going to throw in it and do some stuff with here soon. So maybe I'll make some content about that. Let's see. Ben, thanks for hanging out, man. Glad to see you in here. Thanks. I'll chat with you here soon. So first, jumping in late, is Checkmate Docker image available? Yep, over on their GitHub page. Well, even in their docs. We jump over to here. Installing Checkmate, Docker Compose, right there. And that's over over here. Again, everything should be linked in the video description for this. Even if you have to start here on checkmate.so, you can click on View Documentation and jump over to there, and then go to Install, and then Docker Compose. Or you can go to their GitHub and find it that way as well, with a few different versions. See. Josh says, try jumping in late. Okay, we talked about that. Sorry, Ben. We talked about a video miniseries looking at stuff like Proxmox from a beginner or a starter view may be helpful for new home labbers. I agree. That's kind of the issue, I guess, is that like, while I'm not a Proxmox professional, like, I still get lost, I still get confused. I still have to ask other people in my Discord, hey, remind me how to do X, Y, or Z. I feel like I would need to actually be teaching someone how to do it in order to get the information I would need in order to do it. I don't know. I might be able to come up with something. Can you do a guacamole tutorial? I have. But that doesn't mean that it's not worth revisiting. Because it was 3 years ago. There's the guacamole video that I did. Cool thing about Convoy is that it's open source for Home Labs. All right, Home Lab. Convoy panel. I think this is what you're talking about. Convoy, experience modern, beautiful server management. You and your users deserve better. Try Convoy now below. Get started, subscribe, demo. It's modern, it's affordable. Pricing, licensing. You can use Convoy in a non-production environments without monetary gain. Or there's the enterprise license for $6 per node per month. You can use Convoy for production environments with monetary gains, selling VPSs, that sort of thing. You can get more in-depth about changes, especially breaking changes. Okay. Server templates. Ooh, I like server templates. That's cool. Yeah, I may have to look at that. That's cool. Non-profit license. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, I may dig into this. That's a good idea. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come back to here. I'm gonna save this so that I have it for later, because that looks interesting. Okay. All right, so let's see. I was thinking more along the lines of visiting basic settings and explaining them a bit, like 1 to 5 most common settings misunderstood or underused. Okay, kind of like one of those, like the first 5 things you should do when you set up your Proxmox server, something like that, maybe, or the because I've seen a lot of those done. Okay, so the Oz new guacamole is deprecated now. Okay, that's good to know. Thank you for that. Let me add this to my list. Guacamole All right. Let's see. Eric says, I recently watched your video about Umbrel Home. Are you currently using it? I am not. I'm not. So I made a video about Umbrel Home. I don't remember when. And then they ended up reaching out to me about their let me do that. They ended up reaching out to me about their little mini PC all-in-one solution that I thought was actually a pretty cool solution, but I took issue with some of the things that they had done with it. And it was a me issue, not a them issue. But again, I don't know how to put this. Like it was very much a me issue, right? I took offense to some of the things that they had done with the device. I thought it was still up there. It might still be up there. I don't know. But I felt like some of the things that they had done with the device, one of the things specifically, I felt it was kind of shady, and I may have overreacted to it. Like, so you get this little box. I don't have anything that size laying around here. Like, anyway, you get this little cube box thing that's got like I think a USB port, a power port, and an Ethernet port, and that's it. And you plug it into your network, and you plug it into your wall, and you turn it on, and then you go to the URL, and there it is, which is great. It's a one-stop shop. It works. But I felt like when I did the review on it, I felt like if you could only use this device for this purpose, then if something happened to the Umbrel team, the Umbrel Home, whatever, right, that now you've got this little paperweight that you can't do anything with. So one day I decided, screw it, I'm just going to tear it apart. I'm going to see what's in there. So I did. I popped the feet off, I popped the screws out, I tore it apart, and the inside was an HDMI port. And then I realized this is just a little mini PC running an x86 platform, and they built a case around a pre-existing board and covered the HDMI port to make the average user feel like it was only good for that one thing. And I made a couple of videos. I made a video about the device itself, and then the next day or shortly thereafter, I made another video like, guys, really? Like, you're gonna block this out? And their response was fine in that, like, we didn't intend for people to use this for anything other than this service. I don't know. I didn't feel good about it. Also, the last time I looked at Umbrel, it was very, very much crypto focused, and I am not crypto focused at all. I think I've got like $40 or $50 in Bitcoin on a hardware wallet in the house. Like, it's 0.0000 something. Like, I've got very, very little crypto. Let's see. I've missed some stuff. Okay, I actually started with Slackware on top of the line desktop back in 91. Holy crap. I was 10. Back Slackware was Arch Linux of all time. I believe that. I remember Slackware Linux back at the time, using 13 floppy disks to install it. How about a Webman and Poolsman video? Clear up misinformation, reinstalling a host VM, no issue. A good alternative to guacamole might be Mesh Central. I feel like I've looked into Mesh Central, but I don't think I ever made any content about it. Let me look in here. I just want to make sure. I have not made any content on Mesh Central, so I will add that to the list of things to take a look at. I haven't used guacamole myself, but Mesh Central has been stable ever since I installed it 3 years ago. Okay, that's good. I don't do crypto. Yeah, I don't. You almost can't pay me to care about crypto, is really what it boils down to. And in fact, they kind of have paid me. Like, I bought some crypto once, I think, or I think maybe I got some crypto from Brave, and then I converted it to something else, and then I ended up with crypto. I don't know, but it doesn't interest me. It all, to me, like cryptocurrency stuff feels like a Ponzi scheme. So yeah, look, some of the blockchain stuff, depending on how it's used, is fine. I think I haven't done a lot of research into it, but as far as crypto itself, I don't care. Yeah, Umbrel Home, yeah, that's the device, was beginner friendly but not really capable, and therefore focused on a very small target group. Yeah, and their prices kept going all over the place. I think it was that one. Umbrel Home. Yeah, in fact, like they've changed their homepage. Their homepage actually looks really good. I never had an issue with their design philosophy. But yeah, like they've got this whole crypto section in there, which just doesn't interest me. Home automation, some of it was fine. And I think at the time, the one I got anyway came with like 2 terabytes of hard drive space. Yeah, 2 terabytes. In fact, that 2 terabyte drive is the OS drive for my HL15. Running on an N100, and that's the problem right there. 16 gigs, like everything else is fine. It's the N100 processor that just kills the whole thing. Well, and the price tag, because again, and the problem is because it's such a targeted product, they're not going to sell a million of them probably, right? So if they knew that they could sell a large number of them, they could bring the price down and make their money up in the larger volume of sales. But because they know they're going to sell a smaller number, they're trying to, from my experience, from my understanding, they have to bring the price up because they're not going to sell as many. So yeah. I want to host, let's see. I want to host a Kubernetes server for local deployment tinkering. What is the best way to host it? I have Proxmox set up. And like I'm not super into that anyway. I'm not into Kubernetes, any of the orchestrated stuff. It just doesn't work for me. I don't have a use for it, so I can't make myself be interested in it. Install a Linux VM and install Kubernetes. You're halfway there with Proxmox server. I looked into it. Okay. The Homey Mini, huh? That I thought you mistyped that, but I feel like the Homey Mini. Oh, they've got a few homies. Introducing the Homey Mini. Interesting products. Let's look over here. Homey Pro. Oh, I actually have seen this. Okay. I was like, it sounds super familiar. Why do I know that? The Homey Pro, buy now. Yeah, $400. That's a bit. And then extended wireless coverage for Zigbee and Z-Wave. That's pretty neat. Expecting to ship in April of this year. That's going to be a little while out. But, I mean, you love the simplicity. It's got Zigbee built in. It's got Thread. It's got Matter. Yeah, interesting. That looks really neat. I dig that for home automation. Man, I really want to try it out, but I'm also very anti-spending money if I don't have to. Like the other day I put together, because I would like to change up some of the stuff for the live streaming that I do, for some of the video production stuff that I do. Like I've currently got a Panasonic G7, which has been great, but I'm using a Padcaster teleprompter setup that I don't necessarily, like it's fine. It's gotten the job done. But I started looking into like the Elgato prompter setup with like the I think it's the Facecam Mark II and the Stream Deck Plus, and like that setup was going to cost me about $700, and I was like, well, in fact, I think I tweeted about it, and I said I will have to wait till I get affiliate status on Twitch, and I'll have to start saving my bits, because that's a lot of money to just drop on a whim because I have an urge. So, You could run Umbrel inside a Docker container. In fact, that's the first video I made about Umbrel, was inside a Docker container. Same personal opinion. Reginald says he uses Homey Pro. That's cool. Thank you for your video about Loot Blogger. It's been working great ever since I installed it. That's cool. I really need to be better about that. Like I thought I was going to do it, and then I never remember to get my gas receipts. I never remember to do the things. So I ended up trashing that VM or that LXC because I didn't use it. The Homey was also featured in a recent LTT video. That makes sense. I'm running a single boot disk for my Proxmox setup and want to add another disk to RAID 1. Have you done something similar? I don't know that you can do that without destroying your current setup. As far as adding another disk and creating a RAID 1, I think that would end up destroying your data. You'd have to start over. Impulsive spinning, I have no idea what that is. Yeah, I bet you don't. Let's get there on Twitch, man. I'm trying. Unfortunately on Twitch the experience is problematic. Yeah, I'm gonna go in there and check that keyframe interval. I'll have to find a number that works if I can figure out how to do it, and I'll do that later. But yeah, like I said, I was looking at basically going full Elgato with like this part that I'm staring at. Like I've got a Stream Deck that works, but with the prompter and the Stream Deck Plus and it having the dial on it, you can like gradually forward the prompter with that. Just I don't need it. Like everything here works, right? But I like to fidget with things. I like to try new tech. That's why I've got a tech YouTube channel. But like I'm always interested in new tech and trying new things. But, I don't have the disposable income to just drop nearly $1,000 on a whim because I want to try some new fancy tech. So yeah, I'm gonna save up my bits once I hit affiliate status over on Twitch. But Elgato is awesome. I'm still using the face cam for Teams meetings, but not using it for streaming. Yeah, and here's the thing, the camera that I'm using, I love. I've had it for years. It's like I said, it's the Panasonic G7, and it just works, man. Like I every once in a while, I'll bump my desk or the monitor or whatever, and I don't know if it's the HDMI or the micro HDMI port or the cable that's having an issue, because every once in a while, if I bump something, the camera will flicker. And that's kind of why I want to move to something else, like the Facecam Mark II, because it's USB-C, and don't have to worry about that as much as plugging and unplugging a micro HDMI cable over and over and over again when I need to use this camera for something else. But I get when I get on meetings with companies or whatever, I get a lot of compliments about how clear my image is. And that was before Nighthawk helped me with fixing my image quality. So we'll see. Yeah, the mini connector port kind of sucks. Yeah, it does. They're so finicky. They're only meant for obviously a rated number of plugs and unplugs. Let's see. How long are you going to stream today? We literally just hit the 3-hour mark, so probably not a lot longer. I try to kind of cut it off at about 3 hours. It's 2:00 right now, my time, and I still want to hang out with the wife and the kid and do that sort of thing this afternoon. I don't know. We'll see where it goes. We'll see what happens. But if I would use my Nikon D3100 as a webcam, it would be terrible. That camera is awful as a video camera. Yeah, that sucks. 24-hour stream. Yeah, coffee, whiskey. Yeah. Please, or don't feel like getting into more projects right now. Later with Food Blogger. Yeah. Here's a shorter version. I always take a picture or a photo of the mileage and fuel pump and then add it later. I probably could do that, but yeah, I don't know yet. Here's the other thing, right? In November, I think it was November, I was driving to pick the kid up, I think, and I've got a 2010 Kia Forte with a 5-speed. I love my car. I know it's a Kia. I don't care. I love my car. And I was at a stoplight, took off in first gear, reached for second. I was trying to get ahead of somebody, and blew the synchros on second gear. And then after doing some research for a couple of months, found out that you don't fix those transmissions. Those transmissions were not meant to be fixed. Most places can't get parts to fix them. It's a situation where you just buy a rebuilt transmission, and you might be able to get a rebuilt transmission for $700 or $800, which is great, except that the shop manuals, the flat rate books that they use, because of how the front end of the car is built, says something like 18 hours of labor to do the job. Well, let's use a conservative estimate of $100 an hour, $1,800 for labor, and $700 on a good day for a transmission. That doesn't include shipping sometimes. We're talking like $3,000 to replace my transmission on a car that's like the Kelly Blue Book is like $2,000 or $3,000. Like, technically fixing the transmission would mechanically total the vehicle. Luckily, I've learned to become my own synchros for second gear and fourth gear. So like I can still drive the car. Nobody else can drive my car, but yeah, so I don't know. All of that is to say, if I don't know how much longer I'm going to have this car, and I don't know if I get rid of the car, I don't know how much longer it'll be before I get a new car, because it's still going to be another like $3,000 or $4,000 or $5,000 to get a new car that I don't have. I end up working myself into circles on that. So Michael Cooper says, you're in Denver, right? I'm south of Denver. I'm in Colorado Springs. This stream has been very educational for me, even beyond its intended checkmate content. Cool. Thanks. I'm actually really glad to know that. It is, Michael asks, is that Central or Mountain Time? It is Mountain Time. JH says, hi, I love your videos. I'm Brazilian, and I've learned a lot by watching them. That's awesome. Thank you. I really dig that. Blowing synchros brings me back to my Honda Civic days. Yeah, except that replacing the synchros in a Honda transmission, much more cost effective than doing it in a Kia transmission for some stupid reason. This is actually my second Kia Forte. The first one I had had like the semi-automatic transmission where like it was an automatic transmission, but it had that thing where you could like push it over and manually shift it. If I left it in just regular automatic mode, if I was like, say, in third gear and pressed on the gas to downshift to overtake or whatever I was doing on the road, it would sometimes feel like I ran over a brick. Like there'd just be this hard crash and it'd rock the whole car. It was brutal. So there's just something in my experience with that particular line of Kia Fortes where their transmissions were garbage across the board. Need opinions from everyone. Is 1983 a good for starter IT job? That depends on where you live. That's all I can really say. Is it depends on where you live, and it depends on what your overhead is. If you're going to learn, yes. US, yes, for learning 100%. If you're not going to gain any experience from it, then it's not worth it. Look, if it's an entry-level position where you can, especially if they'll help you pay for certs, if they'll help with continuing education, if you can get in at basically $20 an hour, I might. Oh. It's my first job, and because my company promoted me from within, instead of an external hire, instead of making $25 or $26 an hour, I make $19. Yeah, that happens a lot, and I think it's stupid. I have seen people in those positions quit their job and then go reapply for the new job and get it at the new rate. I think it's stupid when companies do stuff like that. Let's see. Snowy Jaguar says, it's been nice hanging out. I've not been able to catch many creators' live streams due to time differences. This time works out well for me because it started at 6 p.m. That's awesome. Hooray! Made it. Hi, all. Glad to have you here. Can't be as bad as a Ford Focus dual clutch issues when it runs hot and blows up. 10 out of 10 experience. I believe that. I actually had an '02 Ford Focus. It was an automatic. It was just a simple little car, but I loved that car too. It was, dude. One time I was downtown. I was going somewhere. I think maybe I was going to work. Stopped at an intersection. Light turned red, so I stopped, and I heard this noise, and then I got nothing. Car won't start. Nothing. And then I find out that I had blown the timing chain or timing belt. I think it was a timing belt. I don't remember which one it had, but it blew the timing loop. Luckily, it has a non-interference engine. And if you don't know why that's important, a lot of engines, the piston goes up and down and the valves go down and up. And there's a point at which if the timing is wrong, those two things will intersect with each other. And you will likely bend the valves in the top end of your engine. And if that happens, you don't have any compression, and that means your engine doesn't run, and you'll likely have to rebuild the engine. A non-interference engine, on the other hand, there's enough space between, even if the valves come all the way down and the piston comes all the way up, they never touch. They can't. That's non-interference. I got lucky when I found out that my 2002 Ford Focus had a non-interference engine, and all they had to do was go reset my timing and replace the belt, and I was in and out in an afternoon for like $400. So lucky to have that car when I did. So they're like the 20 to 14 to 17 models. Had to buy a newer car. Dang. An alternative to tracking mileage and fuel consumption is Tracker. I think I've heard of that one. Along with an inexpensive GPS tracker, has a Docker installation. That's interesting, huh? It's the policy, won't say the company, that you shouldn't. Anyway, on the topic of cars, I have a Pontiac Grand Prix with a 3.8 in it, and it has almost 300,000 on the odometer. That's cool. I dated a girl in high school in the late 90s who, her dad had a Grand Prix. I think it was a 3.8. And it was a lot of fun to drive. It was kind of a big boat of a car, but it was a lot of fun to drive. I enjoyed it. You can also use your phone for tracking if you don't want to use GPS tracker with mobile subscription. Yeah, you got lucky for sure. Yeah, at least it wasn't a new motor. Absolutely. Dude, the other problem with that car is the ignition cylinder. They used really crap metal for the pins inside the ignition cylinder, and they would wear out. The ignition cylinder would wear out even if your key was still good. And it also had a transponder in the key. So at one point I couldn't turn my key over anymore because the pins had gone all funky inside the cylinder. And it cost me like $300 or $400 to get a new ignition cylinder installed from Ford, and to get a new key coded to it. It was dumb. I hated it. I know it wasn't programmed to the ignition cylinder, but I only had one key, so I had to make a new key for me. So expensive for them to replace a part that was default or that was defective from the manufacturer, and there was never a recall on it. It was so frustrating. Let's see. For $19-20 is what I would expect for an entry-level support position for a non-certified. Yeah, I agree with that. IU says, well, hello there. Nice to catch you live. Well, thanks for joining. Do appreciate it. The Pontiac Grand Prix is a really good car. The engine in it is extremely tough built. You could throw a wrench in the engine and it would still run. Extremely reliable for A to B. Yeah, I agree with that. Have you thought about putting more air into it via any of the available methods? I'd definitely be curious about that. I mean, I drive a 78 Mustang with 300,000 miles on it. So 300, oh man, a 78 Mustang. I had an 81 Mustang in like 2000, 2001. It was such a beater of a car. I paid like $200 for it, which should tell you everything you need to know about it. It was a 4-speed. I don't remember, it had a lot of miles on it. The interior was trashed. stock motor, hadn't been maintained. And I think the car had been used for nefarious purposes before I bought it, because there was a toggle switch on the dash that wasn't factory. And I didn't know what it was for the longest time until I realized that it turned my brake lights off. It disabled my brake lights entirely, which makes me think this car was used for nefarious purposes. But I had it, God, I only had it for, I don't know, 6 months or something. I'm not even sure what happened to it. I left it with a friend when I joined basic training. And beyond that, I don't have any idea where it went. I had a Cobalt that ran into that issue. Couldn't even get the car to run without the key. Oh, geez. One time I had a very stupid thing happen with a car. I dropped the key and my car won't start. It turns out the key had to be replaced. Yeah, that sucks. Oh, yeah, I was talking, Brennan, yeah, I was wondering, like, turbo, supercharger, pro charger. Just wondering, I mean, when you've got an engine like that in a car like that, I don't know. It just seems like it'd be a lot of fun. Yeah, so my 81 Mustang, even though it ran for crap and didn't look good, like it was barely get me across town kind of reliable. The VIN said it was a Mustang Cobra, so my insurance was ridiculous because it said Cobra at the end of it. It was dumb. And there's the Pinto Stang. That's funny. That's pretty funny. Yeah, I've had a lot of cars over the years, and lots of, I think, stories for most of them actually. Fox Buddy's the Mercedes. Oh, I already read that. I thought something else popped up there. Must have gone away. I don't know. Pontiac did have a supercharged version of the car with a supercharged V6, but I'm not sure if the superchargers are interchangeable. They should be. They should be. But look, if it's like here's the thing. We've talked about this a little bit in the past. I don't watch a lot of home lab YouTube stuff. I watch a little bit of tech here and there. But most of my content consumption is car related for some reason. But yeah, like I really enjoy cars. I enjoy working on cars. I enjoy installing car stereos and systems in cars, and I like driving cars. And it's always been that way. I've always really enjoyed driving. Cobra means it was the Shelby, not a Mustang. Huh, I did not know that. Unless it was the King Cobra, I don't know. All right, I'm headed out to watch your Xeraxi video. Have a good night. Great chatting with you. So the Xeraxi video is also a live stream. So just so you're aware, it's like 2 hours long. So I haven't made a dedicated video on it yet. I've only done the live stream. But enjoy nonetheless. I will probably at some point make a video about Xeraxi, but I need to chat with Nighthawk in my Discord about a couple of issues that I ran into that he has a solution for. So that's the goal. When I get around to it, probably maybe I'll see if I can get a hold of him this week. That's a valid point. You can't put a V6 supercharger on a 4-cylinder or a V8. Yeah, I mean it's got to fit the form factor of what you're putting it on. But I think a Pontiac, V6 3.8 liters of I think they're all pretty much the same. I know, like with Mustangs, like they're all a lot of that stuff is fairly transferable, based on what I've seen, at least with Donut Media and their new high-lows, or the most recent high-low series that they did. So now we've reached the car tech with DB portion of our stream. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be here too much longer. I can feel the back of my throat starting to get irritated, despite, I mean, I got through 2/3 of that thanks to you guys being smarter than me. V6 3.8 and V6 supercharged. That sounds right. It's been a long time since I've done anything. Well, I had a Pontiac Vibe for a while, but it was just a rebranded Toyota Matrix. So yeah, it's been a long time since I've done anything with much other than that from Pontiac. And of course, Pontiac's out of business now, I think. I'm pretty sure Pontiac's out of business. Unless they came back, which I think I saw something about. I don't know anymore. But, yeah, let me come over to here and see where we are. Oh, dang. All right. All right, guys. Well, it's been 3 hours and like 17 minutes. And I think my duodenum or whatever the thing at the back of your throat is. I think it's getting the best of me at this point. I'm really starting to feel it in this like weird. I can point to it, but I can't touch it, kind of way. And I think if I keep going, it's going to screw me up. And I want to be able to stream Monday as well. So thank you to everybody for hanging out with me, chatting today. Thank you to the Checkmate team for hanging out and answering questions. Really, really super appreciate it. I think once we get a new version of Checkmate out that's got some of the little things fixed and the new additions, I'll be making a dedicated video about it. But again, I really thank you guys for all of this, for hanging out, watching my stuff, keeping me talking. Super appreciate it. But I do think I'm going to go ahead and start wrapping this up so I can go hang out with the kid and whatnot. So yeah, thanks. I really do appreciate you guys hanging out. Again, Monday morning, 10:15 Mountain Time, Denver time. For those who don't use like Mountain and Eastern and all of that, because they use the GMT format. I can never remember if I'm GMT -6 or -7, and it changes based on what time of year it is. So it's just Denver time is what I tell people. But again, thank you all for hanging out for the last little bit, whether you've been here the whole time or whatever. Thank you, Gorkum, for that. Discord or GitHub for that would be great. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun. We covered some good stuff here. But I'm gonna go relax for a bit, hang out with the family. So I will chat with you guys either in the next video or the next live stream or in Discord, wherever you want to chat. I'm probably going to be around somewhere at some point. So anyway, have a great rest of your day, rest of your weekend, and I'll talk to you next time.